bullet was a little shaky for Hans. You see that Denis Lazavik was the favorite there in the bullet, but I don't agree that Hans is not the favorite in 3-1. So to be specific about my arguments with the stats, I tend to believe that Hans will have a lead heading into bullet today, or I'll say I'll be surprised if he doesn't. But all right, we had a chance as a team to catch up with Hans. With all the players, we've been doing that, but to talk with Hans about how he's feeling about his chess career, how he's feeling about his form, how he's feeling about his invites and the opportunities that he's been getting, especially this year. So let's see what Hans had to say for himself and what he's thinking about in regards to his overall career right now.
I would say that, honestly, the Vike invitation, really means a lot, because Vike is honestly, it's the biggest super tournament in the world, let's say, other than the candidates and all these things. So that I really, really appreciated. The freestyle events especially, they've been obviously new tour. They're not really a part of the old guard or the old chess establishment. So they've been, and my invitation to Las Vegas wasn't actually an invitation, I qualified. I qualified to the Open Qualifier, which was not an easy path. And obviously I did quite well there. And that qualification, gives me the opportunity to play in the Cape Town finals. On that regard, I still feel great, but, I still feel like a lingering just sense of disappointment, from how I've been treated by the American chess establishment, especially the St. Louis Chess Club.
Well, there we have Hans joining us now from the same spot that he was in the interview that he just did right there. And your thoughts, Levy, on some of his comments, both being invited to Wijk, how he's generally feeling still about his position or place or respect or lack thereof from the traditional American establishments. And what do you think about the chip on Hans' shoulder that he still has these days?
I think anybody who has seen any of my videos over the last couple of years knows that I have criticized the fact that Hans doesn't get invitations, but I've also criticized the fact that chess generally is kind of idiotic with its major tournaments. They are all invitationals. I mean, most of them, like other than the ones that you qualify for, saying the candidates, I don't know, like they just randomly pick people. You've got to be friendly, easy to work with, a top player, and it allows people to sit on their ratings. We are living in unprecedented times where a 2550 FIDE rated player and a 2750 FIDE rated player are closer in strength than ever, and resources. It's just about opportunities to play. We see this at major tournaments like the World Cup and the Grand Swiss. So, yeah, I mean, seeing Hans get an invite to Vike this year is very exciting. It is the Wimbledon of chess in a slightly less flashy location with probably worse food and worse weather. So it's basically not Wimbledon at all. But, you get my point, Danny. And I'm curious to see how he does. But he has always shown exceptional form in fast formats, Esports World Cup, Speed Chess Championship included, World Rapid and Blitz, but he has not yet won. So this year he's looking to get back in the same position he was in last year.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I obviously it's no secret that Hans Neimann and I have disagreed about more than a few things over the last few years, but I will say that one thing he and I do agree on strongly, and we've both been public about it in different ways, that I think chess needs a democratic revolution. It needs more meritocracy-driven and transparent ways for players to qualify. I've even been in favor of rating decay, which Hans has also suggested. So I guess what I'm saying is, without getting into the politics or other things that have happened between Hans Neimann and his relationship with St. Louis, which are not mine to speak of, I will say regardless of that, I do agree overall that not only does Hans deserve some invites that he's now getting to Wijk and Z and others, and we're happy to have him in these events, but I agree with it that there need to be events that have open qualifier systems, and it's how he qualified for freestyle, as he said. So, and we were happy to be a part of that, posting those events on chess.com. So either way, it's time to dive in, because we can talk about Hans Neimann a lot. I see a lot of people in chat saying, hey, where's the love for Denis? We know that. Hans Neimann is a character who's larger than life in a lot of ways, and Denis is also here to say, I'm going to let my chess speak for itself, though, and here we have a Berlin. We are not forgetting that this young man has a chance to not just send Hans Neimann home, but go to London. So here we go, Levy. Yeah. We're on the board now, and we have a mainline Berlin.
You talked a lot about larger than life. This opening is hardly larger than life. I hope that we don't get a buffet of this opening, because actually Hans Neimann plays this with the black pieces as well. But Denis Lazavik is not an E4 player. Hans is an E4 player, first and foremost. Danny, you probably know the intricacies of this opening far better than me. This is a perfect weapon, I think, to start the match. Uber solid for black. You kind of see what your opponent is feeling for. Long endgame grind, or are they going to try to, hit you with some theoretical novelty? So I'll let you take it away.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate the nod. I did play the Berlin for a brief stint when I was trying to be a real chess player as black, but I will not pretend that I'm going to be up on the theory as much as these two guys are. But we might get a theoretical Berlin, because if we're seeing these types of moves played early, so you have this majority. Black has the bishop pair sort of as compensation, if we're just quickly highlighting the story of the game. And Hans is not apologizing for using the extra pawn. This is one of the more aggressive ways for white to play. You don't have to play this knight e2 retreat and the immediate f3, h3, g4 that Hans is doing. But look at his time. That's what I'm impressed by, Levy. At this point, he's got just as much time that he started with, and he's put Dennis on notice in regards to his prep.
For sure. And I don't think I ever recall seeing a Berlin so quickly transform into a 2-on-1 on the king side with a pass-protected g-pawn. This is definitely some sort of cutting-edge stuff. Normally, black is very happy to situate the king on the opposite side of the board, behind the pawns. And here, white is just looking like he's going to press forward. King is going to come. You're going to trade the rooks. You're fully investing in the g-pawn. On top of the fact that the c7 pawn for black is just hanging. Like, white can go grab it, provided he makes a couple of defensive moves first. But I'm mostly shocked by Hans's time management. He didn't think until about a move or two ago.
I agree. I think the time management has been the most impressive. But overall, despite the c7 pawn hanging, I think what you highlighted is really the point. The problem for white is, one, you don't really want or need that pawn because it's doubled. Your biggest priority is holding onto this guy. But your bishop is kind of in the way of allowing the pawn to get there to reinforce the pawn. And if you move the bishop to a different square, all kinds of problems. You keep it on this diagonal, black's rook enters. If you move it off, well, now the pawn is immediately hanging as long as this rook can find some other thing to threaten. And these bishops often find themselves just hitting these squares right when it matters, whether it's trying to just simplify or get on d5 if it helps anything happening on the king side. So Hans is slowing down here. And I guess what I'm saying is I think that's by design. I think Dennis has gotten out of a little bit of the worst of it, at least in terms of where Hans maybe knew the line better. Because I don't think that black is really in that much trouble here. A teeny bit of an edge according to the computer, but I think that black is okay.
But that's sort of how the Berlin goes. That's why literally not a single person watching this broadcast right now plays this opening for black, because none of us really understand it. And everybody watching and requesting GM commentators is pretending to understand this opening. I mean, it's quite clear. Like, Hans is going to invest on the extra pawn, but Dennis has both his rooks out. The king is there to stop the pawn. The bishops are well positioned. I think this peters out to a draw quite quickly. And then I'm going to be very curious to see, will Hans go for the anti-Berlin? Or do you keep chipping away? That's a very common SCC strategy. Right. Keep playing into the same opening.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm not sure. Like, what does white even do here? A3, B3, rook G1. Like, try to push forward. Nothing. You have no way through.
Well, and on the next move, if you don't stop it, I think black has a couple options. One is rook h5. The other is king g6. And if we just do some quick math, if you don't figure out how to deal with it, I don't know that white has enough defenders. Now, there are other tactics, of course, on the board. In fact, if the king hops to the wrong square, look for the knight to pop in. So that's what Hans is going for. So we still have a lot to learn. I'm curious whether Dennis will keep the bishop on this diagonal or look for something more dynamic. Okay, he does. And in fact, he's inviting an obstacle bishop ending, which makes it really hard for me to think that either side is gonna win this game. But hey, before you call out the viewers, I'm sure Maxime Vacher-Lagrave is watching today, and he's played the Berlin. In fact, one of the last real theoretical Berlin battles I remember, Levy, was a matchup between Maxime Vacher-Lagrave and Hikaru Nakamura. And on that day, I think Robert was with me. It was like they had agreed ahead of time to give everybody a theoretical Berlin lesson. I think every game was a Berlin. It was like 30 games of the Berlin. It was insane. So I'm hoping we're not going to see that today.
I recall there was even classical battles. Hikaru is very happy to play the Berlin. He plays it all the time with black. And Maxime is actually very happy to enter the endgame. Like modern day, everybody's playing 4d3. And it's happening in the Italian as well. Like white plays a very early pawn to d3. This is for the more advanced folks who might be watching. And that is where the cutting edge battles are currently going on with white in e4, e5 positions. They're keeping it close for a while. This is... even though you say
Mhm.
opposite colored bishop endgame is likely a draw, there's no need to rush it. There's no need to force. White is the one that has to prove that they have anything in this position. If white doesn't go for anything, I don't think black can go for anything either. I mean, white can play a3,
Yep.
rook e1, and the game will be a draw. There you go. I mean, you don't even have to protect the pawn on a2, and the game will be a draw.
I was just about to say this is an active approach from Hans, but we're already in a world where we could get simplification very quickly. And yes, you do have to keep an eye on the a2 pawn here. I'm sure Dennis is calculating whether he can just take and shake and bake and go for the pawn right now. The bishop already guards e6. Oh no, so he goes. Wow, he goes back to d6, which now that's an interesting offer because not only do I love trading, but followed by rook e7. This is exactly the type of ending that white wants.
So I guess, yeah. So I guess what happened there is that it's what you mentioned about 10 moves ago. Hans doesn't have the ability to move his bishop and protect the pawn. Now he does. He actually has a fantastic endgame position now because he has a protected pass pawn. Dennis is probably relying on the light squared bishop blockade to prevent Hans from getting any progress. But I think Hans kind of understands now the dynamics of the position have changed, and black has no counterplay, whereas white just has the idea of removing this bishop from the center of the board. Rook e3 maybe also. Rook b3 at the right moment could be dangerous. So you just have to make sure black can't infiltrate. So I think Hans has figured something out here. Maybe knight f3, bishop f3, and rook e6 could be an idea as well. Okay, he didn't go for it, but I kind of like that idea in the last move.
Yeah. I like it too. I also was wondering if he's going to go for knight e2, knight c3. He played it right as I was about to highlight it, because if you get rid of the bishop, as you said, the rook becomes open. Still within, it feels kind of holdable territory, but I really preferred the obstacle bishop ending for Dennis versus this one. We'll see if Hans can make anything of it. Is the advantage big enough? If you go knight to c3, black can defend, and it's a position where white is definitely the one pushing, as you pointed out. The G pawn is the most permanent advantage that either side has, but Dennis does have a little bit of an edge on the clock here.
Bishops are better than knights is sort of the traditional wisdom,
but
not in a position where the bishop doesn't have a single target. Like in this position, the bishop is a pretty piece, but it is a defensive piece. And the knight can move around on two color complexes, which is why he brought it back, and he's going to move it to c3 at the right moment. It's still hovering around equality, but practically speaking, it's definitely Hans in the driver's seat, unless now we have a moment. Like, what do we do here?
Well, Dennis plays rook h1. Computer doesn't like it. The probably better was just to take on c4 and then try to defend the bishop. But we're going to get that endgame you talked about, knight versus bishop. You love to say bishop is better than knights when there's pawns on both sides of the board. But as you said, not when the bishop can't target anything, and not when white might be able to...
What? Why didn't he go a4?
Yeah, I was just about to say, not when white might be able to create a second pass pawn, and then he played b4 before I could finish the thought.
And I mean,
that doesn't make any sense.
That was the first thing that I thought of. Like, again, if ab5 was played, Hans on the previous move could have just moved his a pawn, and he would have had outside pass pawns on a and g, which just seems like a nightmare to defend against. I don't know what he didn't like about that move.
Yeah, I would quickly back up and show it, but I think we're about to get a time scramble, so maybe we'll stay here. But I think for anyone who can visualize just a little bit in your head, you can understand that if white played a4, you have one pass pawn and two. And when pawns are split that far apart in an endgame, it's very difficult for your opponent to defend, especially under time pressure. So okay, I guess I will. Maybe I'll just back up and just show, because that was also what the computer wanted to do, was to play a4, by the way. This was definitely the best move. You and I, the lowly international masters that we are, were not wrong about that. And for some reason, Hans does not elect this plan, and we are in a much closer to equal endgame still.
He probably liked the stability here. Hans probably foresaw a position where every pawn is on a dark square, so the bishop is kind of useless. Black also has no pawn break, and you feel like you can indefinitely maneuver. He probably felt he was pushing here, but he can't. He doesn't have a single way through. He should have went a4, and that's one of those things. That's one of those Magnus moves. You just kind of make it by hand, and you feel like it's the right move. You know that a and g is so far apart that it's going to be difficult for black to defend. Yeah, Hans preferred stability, but Danny, this feels like a first game of the match kind of game. Like if this is game 10, you play a4, right? Because you build up the confidence.
literally took the words out of my mouth. I was just going to say that Hans preferring stability is not that surprising because it's the first game, and I mean it's picturesque. Every piece for white is going to be on a dark square, and it just was. So it's very easy when you're in those spots. You're shaking off the nerves. You're trying to feel like you're settling in. That you go for the safe approach, but undeniably, we all thought A4 was better, and we were all right. Will Hans? I don't think he gets himself in trouble here, even though they're both under time pressure. I think we will likely see this one in a draw, unless. Well, okay, I'm gonna actually still say that maybe Hans has more chances than we realize because the knight is such a tricky piece, especially in bullet types of scrambles. So let's not count out some sort of weird blunder just yet.
No, for sure. I mean, Denis Lazavik's winning chances here are literally zero. I'm calling it now.
Yeah.
Hans, it's not zero. I mean, it's maybe 10 to 20%. In a scramble, anything is possible. Also, Danny, big picture, I think this is the worst format for him. I mean, I think he's happy bleeding like 3 more minutes off the game clock and just getting a draw. And the less 5-1 games you have to play, the better. I think he's the better 3-1 and 1-1 player. I mean, I don't think that's a hot take.
Okay. Well, it's fascinating because our stats said that Lazavik is the better 1-1 player. But regardless of the stats or our opinions, everyone should take a peek at their ratings, by the way. We have players rated 32-41 and 32-31 coming in. If you're looking at their ratings right above their webcams here, depending on where you're watching, or if you're at chess.com/events, you can see their ratings next to their profile pictures. So I guess what I'm saying is these two guys are very, very evenly matched. This is a borderline corn flip call for a reason. Corn flip. Did I just say a corn flip call?
Yeah, corn flip. I don't know. You got Iowa on your mind.
Flip the corn. You never know where it's going to land. Here we do.
Here it is. Here's the moment. We finally have a breakthrough, and you can just take the pawn. And draw. As long as you know your king and pawn endgames, yeah, this is a draw.
I am going to go full chess coach here. I want to show how that game could have been lost. So as the next game gets started, I'm going to call for an analysis board. I want to, if I can, I want to see if I can get the other game up, because that was actually a moment where that game could have been lost. If we want to quickly show that in these spots, often your instinct is thinking, "Oh, I should have a king that is just as active." But if you end up in a spot where, okay, I guess if you were trying to get aggressive with the king, you would eventually lose this endgame. You have to be ready to meet the capture with opposition, which is what Lazavik did. And the moment the king takes, you can get opposition. So those endgames can be lost by players less good than Hans Neimann and Denis Lazavik, but not today.
And it's important also note it's not always a draw when you have opposition. If that same endgame occurred with the pawns pushed one rank further, it didn't matter that black would have gotten the opposition, because actually you would still lose. So like you would have to be a little careful the way you do it. I mean, you have to like there are ways where the opposition on the last rank somehow sometimes works and sometimes doesn't, right? So we have to just make sure of that.
We're making sure that all of you watching don't lose that king and pawn ending. You're welcome. You're welcome, world. And there are a lot more tricks in those positions than you think. That is the main takeaway. All right. Denis Lazavik puts the knight on b5. Hans Neimann castles because we had a fork coming to c7. What an interesting game. We've got a bishop pair for white. We had a Slav defense turned into some sort of weird looking Verisov type of deal. What do you think?
What actually was the opening? We were talking about the end game.
It was
for Lazavik.
So yeah, it was a Slav defense, but then the move order got weird with the queens coming off the board, and for a second I thought we were in like a Verisov, but
This is already going better for Lazavik than it was for Ding, because I'm pretty sure Ding just got obliterated in the first few seconds, right? So it's like, what? It's like Lazavik is already proving that he's not just some random 18-year-old left out on the street. He is going head-to-head with Hans Neimann and actually surviving. This is wild. Okay, this is wild.
Which means that when Denis is white, I think we're going to get very imbalanced games. And here we have one, right? I mean, white has bishop pair, lost castling rights, total imbalance, Swiss cheese pawn structure. White is slightly better due to the bishop pair according to Stockfish, but I have no idea how he's going to convert his advantage here or promote it forward.
Well, and there's all kinds of. I was gonna wait. Okay, the bishop defends the rook. Okay, important tactics. I was just about to say there's all kinds of weird things going on. Black has control of the light squares. There's even this weird knight coming to b3 threat because the point, everybody, is the pawn was pinned to the rook. So knight to b3 was a threat there from Hans. You can't take it, and you would have to move the rook and then allow black to capture the pawn. So that is exactly why Lazavik played this b3 move. Now the bishop defends the rook, so there are no tactics with knight b3.
This is a very messy position. Lazavik is going to have to figure out where his king is going to go. So he is going to get into significant time trouble. I think this is actually a perfect weapon for 3+1, because at this point you would have 3 to 2 minutes, and now you're below 2 minutes in that format, right? So actually, technically he would be below 1 minute, right? Because he spent 2 minutes already. It goes knight d4. It's already a mistake. But what do you do? Maybe you have like an e5 pawn sacrifice, like e5, knight c6, bc, take. Does black get in with the rook somehow? Because Danny, I'm smelling blood. Like I'm just gonna say it feels very dangerous here for white.
I agree, and let's analyze what I think. You're right. I think that e5 is the idea, and even at the end of these lines, if everything takes and white tries to go pawn grabbing, this is dangerous stuff because black is just. I think black is just putting a rook on. I don't know which rook.
Yeah.
I kind of like keeping this rook here, but it's just something where you just keep attacking the center, and I don't know, this is very dangerous.
All right, so what is the Title Tuesday format? It's like it's 3+0, right?
You can't castle long, everybody, because a2 falls.
So
you can't move the rook because a2 falls.
How many Title Tuesdays has Hans won? Like
so
0?
Hans is slowing down. I think.
How many has he won?
Correctly.
I don't know. But Lazavik really recently won a Title Tuesday.
But again,
so
this feels like early
I feel like
match
he'd be better in the 3+1, if you know what I mean.
In the 5+1, you generally don't want to take so much risk because the other guy has so much time to defend his position.
Lazavik generally isn't a good classical player. I don't think he does that good in higher, slower time controls. So I'm going to go ahead and say that
we talk about
he's going to make his comeback in the bullet in 3+1 sections. That's what I'm going to say.
In the 5-minute portion to see what you might want to use when the time controls get faster. Sometimes we can just see other types of slower or fast starts for different reasons, but actually deliberately realizing that maybe you don't want to mix it up. You kind of objectively know that most positions are close to equal. These players study enough with computers that you kind of always have that computer eval in your head. You know that you're probably not winning. So I like that just from a perspective of managing your nerves. If you're Hans Neimann, he's being solid. I think objectively black can get a little more aggressive here, but he starts with this move bishop d3, and Denis Lazavik is still almost a minute down on time.
Hans famously said in a video review of my games that I try to force my advantages from better positions instead of just improving. That's what he's doing here. He's taking absolutely zero risk. His position is very, very stable. But to win the match, you're going to have to take some risk. And Lazavik is the type of player you have to take risk against because he is not going to take the risk.
Yeah.
And it's just
very
game
solid.
2. But
yep,
as we progress, Hans will take more liberties.
What you call it? Lazavik has the system he likes to keep to with d4, knight f3, so everyone should expect that when he's white. He also has a style, which is, it's a little Wesley So-ish. He plays just very solid, doesn't take a lot of risk, very rarely beats himself. This was a mistake here, although despite the computer being harsh on it, I don't know if it's a huge one yet. I like this move from Hans, not allowing the rook ending. Get the knight out. Now you're preparing both c5 and e5, and I like black's chances here.
It's a second endgame in a row. It's a second endgame in a row. Knight versus bishop. Same thing.
There we go. Is that going to be the theme of the day? We'll find out.
Yeah, maybe Hans likes his knight endgames. I still really prefer black's position, but maybe now is a very big moment here. You can get a knight to e4. Do you go f5 or do you play fg? Okay, goes check, but what's he going to do next? The big question. F5, Danny?
Yeah.
Feels right.
I mean, my voice also gets higher when I'm not sure. I don't know. F5 or take a... You don't really want to get the rook involved. I think the rook and bishop having a fun time on g7 is not what black wants. So I would predict f5. or I wish I could just go for something right away, something tactically. Even c5 and d4 was something I was thinking about, by the way, just to keep the bishop out. Although if you do that, I think maybe Lazavik will just go to the rook ending and try to hold.
Yeah, but that's such an imbalanced rook end game. So Hans now down on time. He's been up as much as a minute in this game. He's really buckling in. If you play f5, you have to worry about the h pawn coming up the board. That's it. I would be really scared of h4, h5, g6.
Yep.
But I'm terrible at chess, and Hans is much better than me. So, okay.
Well, no, I agree with you. That's the clear plan, regardless of whether you're terrible and Hans is better. I think you're seeing it correctly, that if you play f5, Dennis is already showing us this is his plan. He's playing h5 and g5 because you have a 2-on-1 majority over there in the corner, and this bishop is a beast helping the pawns advance. So this is now already back to equal, because the truth is Dennis, for his part, has gotten his pawns going faster than Hans has.
I still much prefer Black's position. I would love to. I wish we had Magnus on speed dial. I'd be like, Magnus, who has the better chances here? I just want to know, like, what are the heuristics of an endgame like this? Vocab word for the audience. Like, is the knight better? Are the black pawns stronger than white's pawns? White can play a4 and get an outside pass pawn. What's better here? This is an insane endgame.
Now we've got two passers coming, and whether you play a4 or not, if black gets c and d pawns running up the board, the more I look at it, the more I still greatly favor Hans's position as well. I agree with you. This is a harder position to play white, especially because these pawns have been kind of held. I think actually keeping the tension was very smart by Hans, not letting white know what you want to do, and that makes it harder to advance. Okay, the a pawn is targeted. What was the idea? B4?
Yeah, B4 here. Wow.
B4. The computer, the eval went up, so I was just like having to guess a move, but B4 undermines the D4 pawn protection, and Dennis finds it.
Yeah, he's very clutch at these little subtle pawn moves, and rook d4 will come with tempo. Hans had to play b4 himself, I think, and he didn't, and now Dennis is back in the game.
Yeah, b4 was a great find. The c pawn is undermined. It's not like black's position is losing necessarily, but the structure collapsing makes it a lot easier to defend. And this bishop, by the way, it is developed where it sits on c1 because it's defending not just the a pawn, but the rook from getting in the game.
Man, what does Dennis go for now? Do you play pawn to h5? Because there's so much tension, you don't want to take any of the pawns, but there might be now tactics on bc5 and the rook can... Danny, let's just watch. I'm not going to predict anything. This is crazy.
This is going to become a scramble. Both sides now under 20 seconds or close to it.
Oh, he had c4. He could have connected. 95. There was 95 there. Am I crazy? What is going on?
Yep. I don't even know how c4 worked. You saw it faster than I could. But all right, now Dennis is back in control.
No, there was a 95 check tactic, I think. Unless I'm losing my mind.
Okay, black had a discovered tactic on the rook. He misses it. Now the rook and bishop probably are better than the rook and knight because the play is opening up.
Yeah, I mean, I had 2 seconds to look at it. I have no idea, and it's likely going to be another draw here because you're going to get to the bishop, and it's going to be a rook end game.
I don't know, dude. Rook f6 is coming. There's mating nets here for Hans. The bishop and rook are having a party at the black king's expense. This is very dangerous, I think.
But king g8, king g7, I think you're always safe.
Okay, maybe now you have to take the perpetual. By the way, rook h1 is checkmate, by the way. So I think Dennis has to take the draw. Okay, he does take the draw because he doesn't want to get mated. Oh my gosh. Okay, hey, we're going to have a fun day, boys and girls. This is it. Ladies and gentlemen, as Gotham Chess would say.
Well, okay, now we go to Russalimo. All right, this is very exciting stuff. Dennis not going for a Berlin. He's sampling other openings. Danny, we got to pull it up. What was going on there? Yeah,
I got to get rid of I got a lot going on over here. We're doing the second game draw. Okay, so let's back up to where Black had an only move according to the computer, and Levy spotted the idea of c4. The reason is you can't take the pawn because of the same tactic that Dennis allowed in the game, which is if you touch the pawn, discover check, Bob's your uncle. This move, and then black wins the rook. For some reason, my mouse is being slow. Apologies for that. Black wins the rook and should win. So, Levy, you were right. That was the tactic.
And it happened again. In the game, it was CB rook d4. He hung 95.
Rook takes d4. Hans
he just straight up lost the game on the spot. What the? What?
it's mutual blind. It's one of those tactics where if you miss it in one line, you're likely to miss it in the other line, because whatever he had already evaluated, he just wasn't seeing this discovery. And so Dennis just undeniably got away with one there as we move on to the third game of the
I mean, maybe he played Hope Chess. I don't
match. We're all right, here we are. Oh, wow, we've already got
know. Oh, wow.
something wild. What is going on here?
What is
This is okay.
Okay.
What it
Sorry,
is.
we got to keep the analysis. Just got to give us the opening. I know Levy and I are having fun, but buckle up because we have the microphone and mouse, and you don't. So you're in for our ride, like it or not.
So I play this line with black. I play
Okay.
e6. I mean, when I was dabbling in the Rossalimo, and the best line for white is this move b3. White trades the light squared bishop, puts everything on a light square, and it's very, very hard for black to develop because black has to be really careful with the doubled pawns. I have never seen this before. I have never seen this. I have no idea. This is some cutting edge Belarusian basement preparation versus some cutting edge wherever Hans is in the world right now preparation. Like, Danny, what is going on? It looks like black should be checkmated here.
And black is winning a pawn on d3, but to Levy's point, the light squares are a real problem. It looks like black should be checkmated, but this is definitely. Oh my god, this is definitely prep. What is this move? It's also just crazy that Hans is finding these moves. Look at the time, everybody. So as impressive as the brilliancy on the board is the fact that Hans is clearly pulling this out of whatever prep he has at home, right? This was cooked up in the kitchen long ago. You don't play moves or find moves like that with only 5 or 6 seconds off your clock.
And the worst part is, Danny, you have to play the game of refuting the opponent's preparation. I mean, what people have to understand at home is this is equal with best play. Maybe white has some advantage. Hans knows this. He's memorized it. And Lazavik finds the only move. Bishop g4, sacrificing the bishop to deflect the white queen. And now he has made it out alive. Unfathomable. And Hans rubs his chin. And look, Hans knows he escaped. He's out of the prep.
What is happening?
Well, he's out of the woods, but he also had to use a couple minutes to get there. So, I mean, Hans kind of gives that little bit of a, all right, nod to the person who figured it out over the board, but he does have a 2-minute edge on the clock. And by the way, he also has the better minor piece exchange. Again, I think this is an endgame where once more, the knight is better than the bishop. The bishop is not a great piece blocked behind the center pawn. So if you're just tuning in, we've had 3 games so far, 3 early end games, and every time Hans has had the knight dynamic versus the bishop dynamic, and I think once again it's a little better for white.
Danny, I will point out, I have a feeling Hans should have saved this for the 3-1 because at this point in a 3-minute game, Denis Lazavik has 30 seconds on the clock. Like, the thing about 5-1 is that it really feels like a rapid game. It really does. Yeah. The guy now has 2.5 minutes to stabilize the position.
Okay, like,
Hans uncorked pure savagery. Like, just unbelievable complications. And Dennis just kind of chilled out. And, you know, they're both playing at 99% right now.
Is that?
So, yep.
King e6?
I think that is a great call, Levy. Honestly, I think that sometimes these matches are won and lost by those sort of strategic decisions about when you cork something out, when you don't, right? The meta, the game within the game. And I know it seems like an early call to make, and at some point, Levy and I are going to be lost in bullet, and no one will remember this. But I think that was actually a great call. So depending on what happens, you may see a game that Lazavik holds here, and Hans really regrets a chance to get a victory with that brilliant, literally brilliant move, 14 bishop e5.
Rook takes.
That was some amazing prep.
Rook takes, bishop takes.
And yet, Danny, as we look forward to another knight versus bishop endgame, shout out to the Levy's word of the day, by the way. I actually still think white is doing very well. White has a 2-on-1. And if you imagine a future where we make some progress, Danny, black has nothing. Black doesn't have a single pawn that he can use, and his bishop is horrible. So,
no, why not go rook f8?
No, I agree. I stand by what I was saying earlier, despite maybe the missed opportunity or bad strategy not playing in 3-1. I love the knight versus the bishop in this endgame. And one way you evaluate bishops, everyone, is based on the center pawns, because a bishop might be better, again, when there's pawns on both sides of the board, but not if the bishop can't move. And if all of your pawns are stuck on the same color square, white, put it this way, white is in control. Will Hans win? I don't know, but white is the only one who can win because of black's lack of options.
I don't know. Maybe
black has
not to trade pawns. I don't know.
Such a miserable position, but it is actually just equal. And if you trade the rooks, then White
then I like
maybe
white.
can make some. Yeah. Then I think it's just might even just be straight up winning for white, because white can push the G pawn, trade, and promote.
What
But
if you go h4 there?
we'll see.
Yeah.
Then
Note
what
the
do you
difference
do?
is that
Nothing?
Hans has a very clear majority, a 2-on-1 that will at some point become a passer. Black's 4-on-3 majority is completely blockaded and stuck on the light square. So again, just pointing out the obvious dynamics, but it's important to explain why our emotional dynamics just really favor Hans as the only one who could win. But okay, he's struggling right now. Look at Denovis. He's played tough
Denovis?
positions
I've never
before.
heard of
Some people
Denovis
are
before.
built for that
Who's
in their
Denovis?
personality. Dennis defends tough endgames for a living, right? I mean, honestly, he kind of does. So
if you
I
trade
don't
the
know that
pieces
he's that
now?
rattled, given that this
Check,
looks bad. But
takes. Then what?
I'll flip the script, Levy.
No, he doesn't
How
want
are
to.
you making progress if you're white now? That's kind of what Dennis is saying. Because by the way, if you go all in on G4, I'm gonna play A4, and that's what Dennis keeps threatening to keep this rook on this square.
No, it could just be a case of mutual stalemate. White threatens a thing, black defends it. But white's resources are drawn in that direction as they are now to the queen side, left side of the board. And he's not going to be able to push the pawn over there. So he's kind of trying to get everything. But yeah,
What
you're
is
not
he
going to
doing?
get... Yeah,
Okay,
draw.
there we go.
Wow, they just repeated.
A
There
third
you
draw.
go.
Oh man, for some exciting chess to start this match between two of the youngest rising stars, not just in the Speed Chess
Like, that's
Championship, but in the
wild.
world. No blood has been drawn. If you're just tuning in, first of all, where have you been? Also, it's just a bunch of draws so far.
Lazavik changing it up, so he's going for a c4 system. We have a whatever you classify this as kind of like a Grunfeld-esque
this
position where
now?
black plays knight to f6 and
Why
then
are they
d5.
playing these North Korean
and
openings?
We're going to get a ton of imbalance the whole
thought
match. This is what it looks like.
enjoy
Queen
these
b3 is
North
nice.
Korean openings,
White is going
but
to try to
what
push
is
the h-pawn.
this?
Maybe, okay, pawn sacrifice variation. Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Prep is all over the board, Danny. Oh, my queen runs back.
Lazavik,
Black gets activity,
what
but he's a
are
pawn
you
down.
Doing?
I am having so much fun with this match. This is the, I think, third or fourth match I've done this year. This is the one, Levy, that has had the most just prep by the players. That's what I'll say. Not to say the other matches haven't been great, and Amon and I were lucky enough to call two very close matches. But I haven't had a match like this yet, where both players clearly came to the table. We had that crazy Berlin in game one, and all we're seeing is just a bunch of home-cooked meals brought to the picnic. And who's got the better ingredients? Apparently, Hans, he likes this pawn sack and he likes the light squares.
Yeah, but I think it's going to be a draw. Queen a4, bishop d7, queen d1, bishop e6.
Oh, come on. No, come on. No. Don't give me that. Don't give me that.
But that's prep. I mean, wow, he goes knight
No,
d4.
he doesn't do it. All right. Lazavik goes for the game to continue. He likes his extra pawn. By the way, white is up a pawn here, as ugly as it is backward on b2. Don't forget it, because it may matter in the long run.
Bro, what
Okay.
is happening?
It's not easy to play variations with the black pieces, especially where you go a pawn down. I mean, it takes a lot of nerves because your position generally is compensated with things like control, space, etc. But at some point, you have to make moves. And at some point, one of those things will loosen like a screw. So Lazavik is going to dig out of this position and just be up a pawn, and we'll see if Hans can manage.
Well, the question is, how does Lazavik get out? I was trying to draw the queen there. Queens don't move like that, everybody. They move like this. If the queen can get to a5, the bishop can get to d2, and the b4 square becomes available. But I will point out that I agree with Levy. It's very hard to play these types of long-term compensation openings for black when you're down a pawn. But there is compensation here. I mean, black definitely has a big center, and the pressure is real. The question is, like you said, with time and wiggle room, can Hans keep that pressure, or does Dennis eventually flex the extra material?
It's so
I don't
trippy
know.
to watch.
I like black spot. Yeah.
I was going to say, it's just very trippy to yeah, knight d5, yeah, something like... it's very tough to watch a chess match with the eval bar because I see e3, the computer doesn't like it. Immediately I'm looking for tactics, but I don't see any tactics. And this is what I said. This is the strategy. He's going to trade on d4. He's going to move his queen. He's going to move his bishop. And then how is Hans any better? Hans is giving away a second pawn.
Oh.
Okay, but Dennis doesn't want it. There must you can't take it. I think it was e4. Okay, I think e4. You're just running out of squares, actually. Okay, well, we can back up. Hey, guess what? We have a mouse and an analysis board because our producer is super jiggy with it. He's ready. Queen takes a7. Let's find out. I think it was e4.
Oh,
Oh wait,
E4, yeah.
rook f7, and the queen is just getting like trapped.
Queen c5, rook c7, queen a6.
No, it's
is that
bishop
a
f8.
trap queen?
Oh, obviously, yeah. A queen c6?
How
Oh,
is
duh.
the
Sorry,
getting trapped
I don't
in the
know.
middle
That's
of
what
the
the line
board?
is. Okay, now I'll back to the game and get rid of the engine. But I had to have the answer. Okay, the queen is getting trapped, everybody, because that's easy chess. And there's
And
other move
Hans saw
orders too,
that.
but apparently you can't take the pawn.
Hans saw that in like 3 seconds. Just unbelievable. Like, just really incredible
No,
stuff.
look,
I mean,
there's
he
a
saw
free
that so
pawn right
fast.
there that isn't even free. Like, what?
Okay, sorry,
But-
I didn't realize there were moves ahead. All right, we're caught up.
No, but Danny, I mean, it's exactly what I said. Like,
Uh-oh,
this,
Lazavik's
what's
ahead.
happening is exactly as I said.
Uh-oh,
Like,
for
your
Hans.
compensation in these lines with black is very, very mercurial, I think is the right word. And now, white is just... Throw that up on the screen, too. I think that's the right word. Like, now white is just going to
Mercurial.
make a couple of more moves, and there you go. He's going to be chilling and be up a pawn.
Yep. No, I'm with you. And again, that's why these long-term gambits are difficult, because objectively, computers always play them perfectly. And so the computer makes you excited to go, oh, yeah, I can play this. There's compensation. But human beings don't play the perfect move every single move. And as you can see, Hans was not able to play the perfect move. Dennis plays b3. Guess what? He's going to get developed. He's going to get the other rook in the game, Levy. And, like, I don't even care if you find f4. I already am liking Dennis's chances here.
I also just made a very embarrassing mistake. I meant to say nebulous instead of mercurial, but they both sound like...
I was just going with words you said.
Yeah,
At this point, I'm
you know
intimidated
what?
by the vocabulary.
Danny, it's the internet. You can say whatever you want. Fact checking is so 7 years ago. Okay,
I was gonna say it was like tenuous. It's like temporary and sensitive, like tenuous. I honestly don't even know what that word means. This could become a highly clippable show making fun of us today.
Bishop
That's all. We're on the way.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
It's
All right, who cares? 97.
Bishop b2, rook e1. Bishop and white is just thrilled, cooking.
And
Come on,
why
Laz, you gotta
hasn't
find this.
Dennis just played it? I don't know. Although he is up on the clock, so that's one thing
It's
to
a standard development move,
observe.
my guy.
I am so tired of potential spam calls. I'm just gonna like leak their number like on the phone.
Lazavik is also
Everybody
ahead in
call this
time,
number.
which is
Potential spam.
not good for Hans.
Everybody call that number. Do it. It's 480-520-1472. Everybody call that number, and 480-520-1472. Because spam calling, telemarketing, data selling is out of control, and we have to fight back. Sorry.
Yeah. Join the anti-telemarketing revolution as Dennis Lazavik.
Potential spam, my favorite. All right, here we go. 97. No idea why Dennis Lazavik has not moved yet. Bishop b2 is both the computer's move. By the way, that's not me. No hands. That's the blue arrow. It also just makes sense, Levy. Wait a second. Is he calculating bishop takes h6, knight takes e5? Is he?
Den.
He's calculating bishop takes h6, knight takes e5. Okay, he didn't do it, but that's what he was thinking about.
There we go.
I don't know. Maybe he was calling the hotline. I have no idea.
Yeah, maybe he was. Everybody's spamming the hotline. All right. By the way, officially, this will be the last 5-minute game before the halftime break. Remember, we start with 75 minutes of 5-1. Then we move to 50 minutes of 3-1 before 25 minutes of bullet.
Okay.
At about the halfway mark, depending on how the games go, we give the players a break. So we're gonna have a small break after this game, but maybe we will have our first decisive result before we get there, because Dennis Lazavik, he's in control here. He's up a pawn. I'm feeling good about his chances, Levy.
Yeah, I mean, Hans is going to try to plop a knight in the middle of the board, so we're looking at bishop c4, bc, and then dropping a knight in. And but look, this is the position that Dennis has made his career on. He wins games like this. You give him a pawn in the opening, and he will figure it out. So Hans is going to have to really take calculated risks throughout this match. So. I really like Black's position, I have to say. Like, despite being a pawn down, I mean, I don't know what White is supposed to do here.
Maybe don't trade the bishop for knight. That sounds like a good
I
start.
don't know either. That's a
Oh
huge
no,
save for Hans to get the knight to. Ooh, rook takes c4 is a tactic. He misses
just-
it. Rook
he
takes
missed
c4
it.
followed by knight f3. He's missed 2 knight discoveries today.
Hans Neimann and Denis Lazavik have blundered 2 knight discovered checks. Rook c4, pawn takes,
Same-
knight f3, won the game. What?
Yep.
That's
The same
wild.
type of idea. Although remember, white is up a pawn, so probably not over if you play rook takes c4. But yeah, both games. If you missed it earlier, there was a similar tactic where Hans was winning on the spot. So for whatever reason, knight discoveries are not on the agenda so far. Halfway through the 5-minute portion.
Now Dennis got a free move with his rook, and Hans broke the dark square
Bro,
blockade.
what?
So wait,
Yeah, but
That's like
but
wait,
okay,
sorry,
like
what?
you're still up a. Yeah, you're
Wait,
still
pawn
up a
takes
pawn.
pawn?
And then
that's a
pawn takes-
blunder.
isn't
Danny,
the
pawn
knight
takes
just
pawn.
taken?
Oh, that's a blunder. Pawn takes pawn, and that
What?
knight.
Okay,
that
he
knight's
does do it.
gone,
I was
right?
gonna say, like, what is going
Yeah, that
on
knight's
here?
just gone.
just take the next pawn. I don't understand. Or queen
Oh,
d3
no,
first.
No, it isn't.
Like this just feels like it's
No, bishop
immediately
takes,
going to fall
rook
apart.
Takes, queen takes, queen takes, rook takes, bishop takes.
What?
No, no.
Yeah, the
no.
knight is pinned. Black is running out of. Although if you take the next pawn, you can take with the queen because the rook
what
and
is
bishop
this? What is this?
are the right pieces to guard the knight. So maybe there's something more here for white if the eval bar thinks it's. How do you gang up on the knight? Okay, queen d3.
You don't do that.
Curious what it was.
Dennis is shaking his head.
You don't do that
yeah,
either.
he's shaking his head. He's actually beside himself. He can't figure out where the crack in the position was.
I think that
Hans
white
is-
missed a tactic with e5 because if the rook took, you lose the knight, and if the queen took, there was rook e1. Okay, doesn't matter at this point. Dennis is still better, but he shook his head like all of us because he couldn't quite solve the puzzle that Hans had laid out, and he's letting the win slip away.
To be fair, Hans Niemann's position is still in total disarray. 3 pawn islands. You don't have the bishop. Well, now you do have the bishop. So white
Yeah,
is
you
going to
do.
try to grind this down in an opposite colored bishop style. If your name is Magnus Carlsen, I'm taking white here, but I don't know. Yeah, rook e5 is clean, and the
Yeah.
king's getting off the back rank. And wow, Danny, these are
Wow.
the 4 least boring draws I think I've ever seen. If we get a draw here,
I agree. I think we
No,
most
this
likely
is a
will get a
draw
draw, and we will be
because, like-
deadlocked at 2 games apiece, headed to the halfway point again, barring any crazy blunders.
Crazy.
But both sides have had their chances, right? We could probably go back and go, well, Hans actually had more chances than Dennis if we think about those knight discoveries that he missed. At the same time, this was probably the cleanest game, Levy, that anybody had, meaning Dennis was really in control of this one and let it slip. So at this point,
Dennis
we
has
do
6.6
indeed
seconds. That's why he missed
have
all
the first 4
all the
games in the
stuff.
books. The players have agreed to a draw. I didn't even see the pop-up, but it did happen. Okay, the game is
Yeah.
drawn, and we are headed to a break as the players are informed. A lot of medals there behind Dennis, by the way. He's got a
Oh,
collection going.
he's a
Yeah.
many multiple time champion of youth and probably open events.
Levy, your thoughts on who, it's hard to even say who has played better. Obviously, the scoreboard would say that they played equally, 2 games apiece. But your thoughts on who has a little bit of momentum quickly as we get to the first break?
Very tough to say. I mean, maybe you can argue Lazavik because he probably had the biggest advantage, but overall, it's very close. The prediction was 4-4 and then another 4-4. So Smarter Chess knows a lot more than we do, our stats team at chess.com. To be honest, I'm going to answer this question not as a commentator, but as a fan. I don't really care who has the momentum. I'm really excited by all these games, and it's super close. And stop sacrificing pawns against Denis Lazavik in the opening is what I would tell Hans if I'm his coach.
Good advice from a smart man. They say that sometimes glasses make you look smarter. I've been trying to look like the guy on our Zenny ad for quite a while now, Levy, so I brought these glasses to the table. My own blue light glasses, by the way. They feel very nice on my face. They feel light. They fit well. Get your Zenny blue light glasses. You may not need prescription glasses, but you probably need blue light glasses if you're staring at a screen, anonymously chatting all day on the internet, throwing out shade and all the things that you do on whatever chat circles you live in. Hopefully you're not doing that. But guess what? While you're doing that with your anonymous internet accounts, you need to take care of your eyes. Get some blue light glasses. Use the code SCC15. Go to go.chess.com/Zenny. Take care of your eyes today because I'm looking out for you. All right, everybody. We're going to be looking forward to the next few games in 5-1 before the gloves come off and the time controls get faster. Don't go anywhere. It is the last quarterfinal matchup for the 2025 Speedchess Championship. It's Hans Neimann versus Dennis Lazavik, and it returns in just a few.
Whether it's sunglasses outside, blue light glasses inside, or night driving lenses in the dark, Zenni has affordable eyewear for everyone at Zenni.com.
The Esports World Cup 2025 was electric. The best games played by the best teams. Our esports arenas sold out. We filmed them with hundreds of thousands of roaring fans, including 2,000 of the most dedicated supporters coming from our Super Fans program who came to Riyadh to cheer on their favorite teams. We had more than 4,000 media outlets covering all the action on site and broadcasting the EWC around the globe. Esports World Cup 2025 was bigger, louder, and even more unforgettable, and celebrating those who proved they are the best in the world.
David versus Goliath on the board. A young Grandmaster dares to challenge Magnus Carlsen, but no one saw this ending coming. I'm Grandmaster Pepe Cuenca, and you have to see this game from the Champions Chess Tour 2024. This epic showdown kicks off with an English opening, where Black plays bishop to c5, a trendy choice among the elite. White starts looking for play along the semi-open c file, with the mighty Little Devil on g2 ready to strike. a5 is a must to stop White's b4 expansion. No free real estate here. After bishop to b6, Black's pawn structure takes a hit. But hey, at least the weakness on c7 is gone. e3 is played to stop bishop takes f3 followed by knight d4. A couple of rooks leave the party early, and now queen e1 is sneaky, planning to put pressure on a potential b4 pawn. But then knight d5 drops like a bomb. Black is eyeing knight takes b4, ready to munch on the d3 pawn like a midnight snack. And Magnus B. Magnus pulls off a brilliant exchange sacrifice. Things are about to get wild. c5 is a good move, slamming the door on d4 like a boss. Knight d2 looks logical, but now Black's advantage starts snowballing. a6 was the way to go, but instead Magnus goes all in. Queen to the back, ready to push, 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 push. Now f2 is sweating bullets. Knight c1 is a great move, making way for the rook. And now queen e4 lands like a hammer, hitting e5 and setting up rook to d1. The Viking of chess is now rook down, but he's putting all his hopes on the a pawn, which by the way has a jetpack thanks to the g2 rocket. Lazavik, calm as ever, finds the only winning move again, knight to d2. Forget about bishop d5 because rook takes a7 crushes the party. And then c4, run, run, run. White starts dreaming about queen h7 checkmate, but hold up, Black has just enough defensive firepower. Once the queen lands on f6, the rook slides to e8 and the Black king sneaks away like a coward to h8. White is left with nothing but sadness and resignation. Game over, what a battle!
Yeah, well, there were sort of extenuating circumstances during that match that, some things didn't go my way, and there was pressure for different reasons, and perhaps I wasn't as well equipped to handle that pressure. There was, I think, only 2 weeks or even less until Paris. So there wasn't much time to prepare. Now you have almost 2 months. So I think with that time to prepare and not having such an intense schedule before, I'll be able to, do much better.
All right, well, there you have it, fans. If Hans Neimann faces Magnus Carlsen in London, he says he will do much better than Paris. More motivation to pick up your tickets. I was actually told by the team at the break that we only have 2 diamond tickets available because one of you in chat just bought 2. So apparently there were 4 coming into the day. I know we've sold more than 20. So if you are joining us in London and you're looking for more than a basic pass, not that the basic pass won't be awesome and amazing to see the players live, but if you want some of those extra special activities and access, there are 2 more diamond tickets available. I'm going to predict that they are sold out before the end of today, just because that's what I do. I make predictions. All right, predictions for the last few games of 5-1, Levy. Who has the lead heading into 3-1? Go.
Probably Hans, but hot take, it's a 50-50 guess. And I will also add, anybody that buys a diamond ticket to London will get a Gotham handshake. So that might be a reason to refund one of your diamond purchases. I don't know, but I'm very much looking forward to London. Paris was a blast. I never expected such a energy from a live crowd. People really had a great time. It was really special, actually, and it was like right next to the Louvre. We had art in the form of chess. We had art in the form of art. Nobody broke in to steal any jewels at the time. But we've also got another Rossalimo, Danny. So hopefully these guys can keep us entertained.
A different line, though, because Hans put Dennis on notice in the last variation. If you missed it, Hans uncorked not just deep prep, but a brilliancy against Dennis Lazavik, who barely got out of it. He used a bunch of time. And Levy made a really interesting call, which is that Hans might actually regret having uncorked that novelty so early in the match because he didn't get a win. And now to your point, Levy, Dennis smells a rat. He's like, I'm not going for that line again. I'm not going to let you brilliancy me again. So I think it was a really good call by you. And Dennis does play the same variation of the Sicilian, but he varies and we don't get that same line.
G6 is the main line. The Rossalimo is maybe the modern day Najdorf or Grunfeld, in the sense that those openings had a little bit of like a renaissance maybe 10 years ago when it was all the rage. Computers were not as strong in preparing some ridiculous novelties. So there was, 5 options on every move between moves 6 and 12. And the Rossalimo is very similar. And in this game, Dennis goes for the G6 line, which is the main line, this Knight H6. Actually, I think Hans has played this himself, if I'm not mistaken. Danny, but something's gone terribly wrong. Terribly wrong, because Hans is just worse with white.
No, I was going to say the same thing. It's gone terribly wrong. Not only does he not get the brilliant prep where he almost got the win, now he's in a bad position. He's not even getting a good spot. Knight to C3 is really dangerous in lines where the F-file is becoming open because of exactly the move you're seeing, which is Dennis Lazavik is going to double up the pressure on F3 unless you play a move like that and keep it closed. But that just tells you how ugly that is. Computer hates it. I hate it. Black has the bishop pair and a super comfy position. This E6 pawn is just food for the taking here.
This is still a fascinating battle between dynamics and non-dynamics and just sort of good positional play. E6 is very much a move that's going to force Lazavik to be super accurate. The problem is with 5 minutes on the clock, he can be very, very accurate. Hans is trying to play Knight A4, Knight C5 and sort of totally lock it down. It means that Dennis has about a move here, Danny, to prove that he's in a much better position. How will he do that? How will he win the pawn?
That's a good point. Knight A4, Knight C5 is coming. That outpost square will not only be a nice looking knight, but defend E6 and maybe go to D7 if you Queen F4. Okay, well that might be a move. Instead of going after E6, Levy, he's going after the D4 pawn.
He also might just be threatening to take on F3. It's very Lazavik, very, very Lazavik. Like, just threaten to damage the pawn structure. But yeah, you're right. Like, D4 is under massive pressure here. Do you have queen e3? But
Feel like
then
trade
he's
clean?
going to take on f3. He's going to damage your pawn structure.
Yeah. No, and if we get that in, one thing about the e6 pawn is even if you don't win it right away, the king can come to g7. Eventually, you get to f6 once you push f5. So, not to say the pawn's fate is totally doomed, but it's pretty close to it. And so you better get other types of threats or other types of counterplay, because even if black doesn't win that pawn right away, I think you got problems for a long time.
You could also walk the king all the way to d6, like f8, e8, d8, c7, d6, just like in the long run. So
yeah,
Hans goes e6 because in the short term it's going to make things a little bit spicy. But if Dennis just keeps totally neutralizing White's plans, which he's doing, in the long run he will win the pawn. Rook d3 is a nice idea.
Yeah, this is like a practical move from Hans. He's kind of saying, all right, well, you're going to win the pawn, but do you really want to do it and allow me to... Oh, okay. He says, yes, you're going to win the pawn, but I'm going to try to bluff at least at some sort of maybe... No, okay. Hans is not going to bluff. He's actually just going to welcome the endgame with the bad pawns in order to hold on to the D pawn. He recognizes that...
But Rook d4 still wins the pawn. Yeah, Rook d4 just wins the pawn.
Oh, okay.
So,
well, Lazavik... He's done it. He's won the pawn. And by the way, he didn't even win the pawn that we were calling for in the beginning, which was the e6 pawn. So Lazavik really played well in the last game. It got away from both players. We still had that deadlock, meaning we've had 4 draws. But here Lazavik, once again, Levy, in the driver's seat. Will he get the first win?
Yeah, now it becomes a question of why is it only this much better for black? Right? Like, what does that say? I don't see it. Is it like minus 1 point something?
Yeah. Something. It's just about 1 pawn actually. It's not even a full pawn. Rook
Yeah, so
f5.
that, I mean,
by the way, that's yeah. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say it's just that's showing that the position is still playable. I mean, White is defending. It's not like he's gonna win the second pawn very soon. If the computer evaluated this as truly lost for White, which actually visually it looks completely lost for White because it just looks like you're gonna win the pawn on e6. Then the computer would say it's minus 2.5, but it's saying it's minus 1. So where is the minus 1, for God's sake? Like, what do you play here with White? I was thinking g3, f4. This was maybe what I was thinking to block out the bishop. But Danny, I don't see... How does Hans not just lose immediately? Oh! Hans is preparing rook e5 takes, b4, b5. I think that's what he's preparing.
Undermine the pawn structure, which, by the way, not just smart in terms of counterplay, but if you win d5, that's your best chance to hold on to e7. Now, hold on to e6 because e7's a target. Oh, he doesn't go for it. I like your idea because if you don't go for it, this rook is coming to b8. You still haven't done it yet. Lazavik smartly putting that bishop on maybe a very useful square. But I keep waiting for that rook to come over. He missed his chance. All right.
By the way, another game of Hans having a knight. I don't know if this is a deliberate thing from all of the openings that he plays, but it really might be. It really, really might be.
No, this is this is at least the 4th. Yeah, this is the 4th out of 5 games where we've had a knight versus bishop endgame, and Hans has been on the knight versus the knight side of that dynamic every single time.
Winning?
So who knew?
Oh my goodness! Lazavik has a 3-minute time
C5.
Oh, 2 minutes technically.
But
Danny, look
okay, only black can win this game. You can. I like king g7. He's going to play for f5 and king f6, and he's going to go for the pawn.
Yeah, we had a slight audio delay. I wasn't going to say anything except just look at the time. 3 full minutes against 40 seconds.
Okay, so material's equal, but that...
And
I'm sorry if I was speaking over you there, ma'am. Didn't mean to. We had a little bit of a delay there. All right.
Like a weakness to me.
No, all good. That's why it's going to be great to be in London, because we're going to be side by side with no audio delay. And I don't understand why you can't just play. Is there f5, knight d4, bishop e5, rook c6? Is that the,
f5.
You know, he's trying to win the pawn on c6. Why is it minus 3 here?
Like, how do you stop that? Like, what's going on?
It's tricky. You're right. If f5, knight d4, I think black can actually play c5.
Yep.
f5,
Yep. Knight d4 c5 is winning for black. Yep. We should draw the arrows there. You don't get the fork. You don't get anything. Black has tactics and black wins.
Yeah. So white would love to get tactics with the knight, but to Levy's point, the knight, rook, and pawn are kind of required to hold back black's majority and prevent c5. And so,
or rook takes.
Yeah. So if white has to hold on there,
okay.
If white has to hold on there, more potential spam calls. I won't drive this one crazy. Although this is just out of control. I get 20 spam calls a day, man.
Can't we? Can't we just play rook e3?
Like,
for the record,
this isn't about you right now. But I'm
for the record, I think calling them back doesn't work because they're all spoofing their numbers.
I know everything is auto-generated anyway. It was just for the content, but there's no way to deal with it.
Can't we just play rook?
I think in 2025, like if you don't recognize the phone number, just literally don't pick up. That's sort of my protocol because they're so crazy now. They do it in your area code. They do it in the first 6 digits of your phone number. Like it's yeah. I mean,
it's nutty. All right, rook c5 is a nice move. This is one way to prevent c5, everybody, is you literally put a piece on it. And now there's a threat of knight a5. But Dennis has to be calculating a couple things. One is, what happens here?
Bishop.
Ooh. The other was, I was wondering if you were going to look at bishop b2 at some point. But he goes bishop d4.
I feel like
and Hans instantly responds, so he was expecting this. But Dennis has choices. You can just take e6 and trade one weak pawn for another. Or you can try to play c5 and just, go after that pawn in a minute.
And
king e6 is the Dennis move. Now you have to trust that you're going to win the bishop endgame up a pawn.
King d.
Okay.
King d6 followed by bishop. Nope.
All right. Bishop b.
Oh.
Oh wow.
No, king d6 followed by bishop.
Oh wow.
Whoa.
Okay.
That's actually really
bishop c5.
Really nasty.
Bishop
by
c5,
Hans.
Yeah,
he's a pawn down, but he's
a
yeah. I mean, he's just established total control here with the knight. Insane.
Ooh. But a6 is nice. At least here you get to take and you don't allow the majority to advance. But Hans is, I agree. Totally back in this game. The knight and pawns are controlling all of black's advances.
No, that's a lot.
And here comes the king, by the way. Man. You bring the king up and suddenly black...
Okay, that
it's hard to see how black wins.
Needs to get active.
And Dennis Lazavik cannot move the rook to the different file, Danny. Yes, like, if he tries to go to a8, white will just move the... Why did he allow that? What on earth just happened? That was ridiculous.
Wait.
Neither player should have moved their rook. You can't take the pawn right now because of knight to d4 check. Nice little tactic, so you actually have to move the king right back. But
yeah, just move the king back. Don't take the
He
pawn.
sees that knight discovery. We've had a couple knight discoveries missed already in this match. Are we going to have yet another game where a player snatches stalemate from the jaws of defeat? Because here Hans is on his way to holding a draw.
What is happening?
This is crazy. Absolutely crazy there. I mean, Dennis, 2 games in a row, has had overwhelming advantages and just cannot press them home.
No, that's a knight in the corner, though.
Well, and he just missed that. You see knight h8. He looks up, frustrated. Just absolutely missed the knight maneuvering its way in. And to your point, you said earlier, the knight has all the advantages over the bishop in these locked up positions because the knight could switch colors and poke and prod. And so Hans flexing his pony skills right now.
Yeah, d3, I mean, white just has a complete blockade on the light squares. You can just move back and forth because if the king ever moves, you fork and you win. I mean, it's just a draw. But yeah, Danny, this is wild stuff.
Wait a second. Hold on. We're in a crazy time scramble though. So before we totally call it,
Hans has 2 seconds. What?
Wow. Bishop d4. The knight is kind of being limited to squares. And here goes bishop e3. Oh, you had bishop e3 and then king g2. Bishop e3 would have kept the king out.
Wait, but this is still very tricky for Hans. He's losing.
Whoa!
What? He just lost the game.
No.
Oh, he just advances. Holy bejesus snaps!
I was ready to call it, Danny. I was ready to call the 5th draw of the match, and out of nowhere, Hans maneuvers his knight. There was a repetition, Danny. There was a repetition on the board. Like knight h4, knight g6, knight h4. There was literally a draw. I was relaxing, and then Hans just went walking around the field with his knight, and he lost.
Well, let's show it real quick because it is the first decisive game we've had. I promised to be fast, but they're thinking in the opening, and I want to show what Levy was saying because this is a game that Hans, after defending well for a very long time, he played for the win, which is why he lost. In this position, white did not have to do anything with the knight besides stay on the king side. You could have just stayed here. That's the point we're trying to show. So even though the computer is liking this idea, when the knight went away from the setup, that's when the eval bar starts bouncing. And by the way, even here, Dennis had an easier win with bishop e3 instead of king in, just to keep the king and then rush over.
No,
But instead,
bro.
anyway, we get the same type of scramble, and the bishop, as you pointed out, just now just better than the knight, and he gets a new queen. So okay, yeah, you were right. White could have just held a draw.
No.
I don't know what Hans
This is
missed there with 2
wild.
seconds on the clock, but it doesn't really matter. Let's go to the next game. That was also the worst game he played in the match. 84% accuracy, which might be the best accuracy of people in the chat this whole year. But for Hans, 84% is not going to cut it. You know what I mean? And he's going to have to really bounce back.
Okay. By the way, I'm getting pro tips. Chat is delivering something useful here, and my producer. Apparently, you can set your phone to only accept calls in your contact list. Like what? I'm like an old man being educated on stream here. That would stop my potential spam problems. Like what? Okay, we got things to talk about after the show. Denis Lazavik strikes first with a 1-game lead and 17.5 minutes to play, Levy. And I think we're going to have a thriller today, no matter what.
And I love his position. This is, I think, an evolution we are seeing of Denis Lazavik's chess. He played another c4, and then in this symmetrical structure, he is going for a kingside attack. This is Magnesian. Magnus has kind of messed around in different close Sicilians and symmetrical structures like this. It's just starting like a phantom attack. I mean, it comes out of nowhere. And this is not how Lazavik plays chess normally. But if he can manage this type of style, he's going to be top 20, top 30 in the world easily.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I mean, maybe more. People forget just how young he is. I saw some comments earlier. I mean, he does. He looks like he's 16. He's not that much older than that, believe it or not. Again, a player who kind of grew up in the online circles. I remember he won his first title Tuesday, by the way, as a FIDE master. Not many people have done that. Fun little factoid about Denis Lazavik. He won his first title Tuesday as an FM. And yes, the cheating accusations were rampant, and they were false. And Denis Lazavik has been impressing people for a very long time. We've known him since
Hans, you can't do
young.
that.
But yeah, you're right, Levy. This is the kind of aggressive play that doesn't normally get associated with his ultra solid openings.
What
I
are you
love
doing,
White's
GM?
attacking chances here. Okay, he goes 94. Knight d5 was also possible. Here comes the pawns.
Okay, Laz, what are you doing now?
Oh, wow.
No, Hans, what are you doing now?
D5 is wild. That is a tilted Hans Neimann move. You couldn't take with the queen because White had a fork, not a fork, a discovered attack.
Yep.
But, oh, Danny, I mean, this is... If Lazavik just plays G5, he is crushing.
The computer had it recommended. Sorry, I orange arrowed over the blue arrow, but the computer was suggesting, here, I'll get it back for everybody. There you go. That's the computer suggestion. G5, and it's pretty obvious why. You're playing F6, and you are putting that bishop in prison on H8, and your attack continues, so you kind of get your cake and eat it too there.
Okay.
And here he goes. He plays G5, Levy, and he's also up more than a minute on the clock. So time for the Hans Neimann train to get back on the tracks and see if he can hold this game.
Pawn takes F5. I mean, I was thinking actually the idea might be Knight G3 because I never know if I want to put my rook in such a square where it's congested. But you're also threatening to take on E5. I don't know the exact line. Like pawn takes F5, rook F5, Knight D3. Maybe there's a line you can sacrifice the bishop on B2. Like maybe you can go Knight F6 check or something. Or Queen H5. Like, of course, Bishop C3 is very good, but I'm immediately looking to sack material. Like, it just feels like the knight going to B2 is such a loss of time.
You can't be tilting this early in the match.
You're looking for mates over here. But I guess I'm pointing out that even if you just play simple chess and black tries to regain the pawn, your attack just continues here. The other rook is joining the party soon. The knight is going to come to F6 eventually. And
Yo, what is that?
Yeah,
what
so
is
this
that?
position is... Oh,
what
wow.
is F6?
Back to the real game. You know you're in trouble when you're playing F6. Nobody call Ben Feingold. We got F6 on the board.
What is F6? Do you take?
White is much better here. You can see the computer likes White. I don't know what the concrete win is, though.
What do you do?
No, I mean, I'm sure it's just something very straightforward.
No.
But my brain immediately is like, sack on E5 and play F6,
Yeah,
which is
I want to sack on E5.
completely idiotic.
Yeah.
Like, it just, but You just take the pawns, or maybe even queen g4
Yeah.
is just something very easy.
Yeah.
Like,
You're right. I think if you just start taking all the
so
pawns
many
and
things
blow
here.
up in the position, let's not forget, by the way, white is actually currently up a pawn. I know that there's a pawn on d5 that is kind of hanging, but it hasn't been taken yet. So if you just take everything here, there's even weird moves like d6. To your point, the queen is coming into the king side at some point.
No, I just want to point out
Dennis
there are
using his time here for all the observers in chat who are
pieces near
trying
that
to
pawn,
improve their
and if
chess.
you just play
There's a difference
D6,
between taking your
it's
time
like,
and managing your time, and
what
really
are you
important to
doing?
slow down in those moments. Flex
No,
the second
that's
super
not
earn on the clock,
good.
and make sure you find the best approach. Okay, maybe he didn't find the best approach, but he did find an approach he likes. And what is it? He's going to get the e6 square, I guess. Okay.
Yeah, I guess if bishop f7, he's just going to maybe take it and put another knight on g5.
That's like,
I mean,
Also, E5
visually,
is
white looks completely winning. I think maybe you have to go. I don't know.
sack the rook.
I was gonna suggest
No, you
knight
can't sack
d3, but
the
there's
rook.
pawn takes d5 and
Sack the
queen c2,
rook,
and you
bishop
just lose.
takes.
So it just.
Oh, yeah, that's
Wow.
actually really... I'm just going to quickly show that. We don't need the board, but I just want to show Levy's idea. This is actually very nice. The knight is trapped, and the g6 pawn falls as well. So that's actually fascinating. Good call, Levy. Okay, so instead of knight d3, he goes back, and to my point, the e5 pawn was also hanging. You take it. I think knight takes and knight g5,
So many
as you
hanging
said, is
things. What
on the
is
menu
happening?
ahead. Also,
This-
e5 is just winning here.
Everything is winning. This is what? That's
What?
hanging a piece. Bishop f6, rook f6. What?
Rook f6. Oh, rook f6.
Yeah.
I love it. Rook f6.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay,
the
this is,
rook or something.
That's wild.
Hans Neimann leans back. I look over at the screen. You can tell when the
Wow.
players are frustrated there. He's an
Wow.
emotive player. You know what he's thinking and feeling. At this point, he's feeling like he needs to stop the bleeding. Down 2 games. And apparently chat agreed with us ahead of time, by the way. I said Hans was the favorite. Magnus, Levy, most people seem to agree. The computer algorithm that chess.com has that powers these stats said that Denis Lazavik was the favorite. Right now, apparently our stats are proving to be smarter than all of us, including everyone in chat, who said that Hans was a 61% chance to win. So chat also liked Hans to win the match.
I mean, the thing is, it makes sense. First of all, he's a much bigger name. Second of all, he's been there before. He's been in the knockout of the World Blitz. He's been in,
Holy cow.
the previous Final Four. Denis Lazavik is like, when I think of young post-Soviet stars from these countries, right? Like Belarus, it's him, right? And then you got well, obviously the Uzbeks are already ultra elite, but in Kazakhstan you
can
have
you
like
take the
Nogurbek
pawn?
Kazibek. He's
Pawn
like
takes,
25,
rook
80 or something.
takes
He's also
knight,
really young, really strong. You can go
bishop
down the
takes
list and like
E5,
he's the
and
standout.
you've
I
got
think
a
he just
killer
doesn't have enough
bishop there?
opportunities to play. Last
Can
year he
you
lost to
do
Wesley So
that? Is
12-10.
that
It
legal?
was really, really close. But okay, Danny, the match is not over, but it's completely shifted in momentum. It is
I
all
think
Dennis
Dennis is
right now.
calculating that, and I think he can.
No,
yeah,
I'll only
okay.
button
He
up that
didn't
point quickly because
like
we'll talk
that.
about the chess. But I agree that Hans Neimann, in the interviews we had, talked about lacking opportunities for a long time, starting to get more of it. Denis Lazavik has had opportunities online. I don't know that he's ever received an invitation to Viking Z or any other elite event, but he continues to just turn heads every time. Like you said, he barely lost to Wesley So, a perennial superstar, especially in the SEC last year. So, okay, it's not over yet. Hans Neimann, plenty of time. It's possible, Levy, this is the last game of our 5-1 segment. I'm gonna predict that it is, actually. I predict that Hans really needs to buckle up here and try to get a win as white, because I don't know that he gets another 5-1 chance.
Okay,
I didn't cover Hans last time in the online portion. I remember he dominated MVL. He had a nice win against Wesley So, I think, last time.
Bad moves.
He kind of looks out of it, Danny. Like he was yawning before the match started, and he doesn't look fully like locked in killer instinct. And I feel like we've really felt it these last 2 games. Last game his accuracy dipped below 80%, so he's definitely feeling a little uncomfortable here.
Agreed. Well, he'll have time. I don't know where Hans is in the world, but the afternoon sun seems to have gone down. Given that it was a brighter look on his camera earlier. Now he's there. But all right, he's still got plenty of time, and lots of chess games ahead. Right now, he's got a nice position as white. I keep looking at ways to kick the queen and try to take advantage of this weak d5 pawn. But concretely, I admit I don't see a way to do it. Although I do see that the team has just said that diamond tickets are gone. So the last 2 tickets for London Speed Chess Championship sold. I think it was Levy's offer for a handshake that got the deal done. So there are no more diamond tickets. If you're just tuning in, you can still get regular passes as well as others. We hope to see you in London, but the diamond tickets are gone.
That's
for
no,
legal reasons.
Hans.
If somehow we miss each other and don't have a handshake, Chess.com is not liable. By the way, Hans' inaccuracy, he probably thought he had knight d7 fork, but he gets counter forked. And that's pretty brutal.
97? Oh.
I'm going to show it. There you go. You're a poet and you didn't know it, Levy. G2 and D7. That's it right there. So you can't play knight to D7 if you are Hans. I think you're right. I think you missed that.
Counter
Dennis
fork.
took advantage of that little tactic with bishop e7. So actually the advantage is turning around too with that. So that was actually a big miss there by Hans.
Oh, and Dennis is up a full point
Yeah, the next
now?
move. I mean, Dennis has played fantastic, really. And it actually could have been an even bigger lead in this match. So I felt like Hans started quite strong, but he's definitely run out of energy a little bit. And it might have to do with the fact that 5-1 is such a slow format. Definitely felt like there was a momentum shift when he uncorked 20 moves of unbelievable prep, and
Dennis
Dennis
needs
sort of
to
just
find queen
brushed
d5.
it off like some sort of kung fu
I don't know
movie.
if that's
But
necessarily
Hans is
going
going to have to pull back in the
It's
3-1,
threatening mate.
obviously. I mean, he
I
can't
don't know if he wants to
get the
threaten
deficit
mate.
anymore.
No, I mean,
Also, he cannot lose this game,
Danny.
Danny.
Yeah, I was going to say at this point he's hoping not to have a 3-game deficit given that Black is in
Yo, what is that?
Black is in a great
What is
spot. The
A5?
queen and bishop
Whatever
have solved their
A5 is
problems. They are
apparently the
developed and
best
strong
move
on the long
because,
diagonal.
whoa.
That D pawn is hardly takeable. Again, my mouse is jumping. That's how they move. By the way, this bishop is tender. I don't know whether there's immediate tactics, but you got to look out for it.
Tenderized bishop.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
Definitely
you
don't play knight e3,
keep
okay?
trying to
Just
attack
don't
the
play knight
pawn.
e3.
I'm trying to look for a safe plan here for Hans. One of the dangerous parts about White's position is like this is anti-Karpovian chess. Like everything feels like it's about to like hang. You know what I mean? Like nothing feels solid.
by the way, for anybody curious, like, Lazavik is born in 2006, so he's a few years younger than Hans, but if you look at his rating progress, Denis Lazavik in the last, 5 months has gained 35 rating points, and he broke 2,600, I think, for the first time. He's also over 2,600 FIDE Blitz. Denis is incredibly strong, and I just feel like he doesn't play that much. There are frequently gaps in his tournaments of 6 to 7 months. Oh my god.
You're nailing it. I agree. I mean, again, he's 19 years old. So younger. We think of Hans Neimann as one of the future stars of elite chess for years to come, and he is. But Denis Lazavik, a household name online, get to know his name, as they say. Know his name because he will be around. And it's fun. Yeah, a really good shout out there from our producer. Thank you for that stat. People forget that Hans Neimann, on his way to qualifying for the freestyle event in Las Vegas, beat Denis Lazavik in the finals. So the point of that story is that Denis Lazavik was one match away from being in Vegas instead of Hans Neimann. Just to tell you again, a rivalry building between these two players, and the fact that they are both
Knight H4.
they are
and
both
then
worthy
what?
of noting for the future. Okay, Knight H4 to my point, Levy. That bishop is hanging.
Yeah, so the idea is Knight H4, Queen D2, and then I think you have Knight takes G2, King G2, and Bishop E5.
I'm showing it.
Knight H4,
I'm showing it.
So
Knight
Knight
H4,
H4, yeah.
Queen D2, Knight takes G2, Levy Rosman, eating the Wheaties. If you take with the Queen, you lose the Bishop. If you take with the King, Bishop takes E5, and the Queen crashes through on F3.
Yeah, that's
nice spot, Levy.
a lot.
There you go. That is the tactic
But
ahead.
Denlaz doesn't see it.
It's easier to watch games than to play them.
He missed it. Dennis played Queen C5. He didn't see Knight H4, and we're right back in a
Holy
weird
cow.
position here.
That is, well, maybe he saw Knight H4. He just didn't see Knight G2. That kind of would make sense. But yeah, he went Queen C5 to go Rook D5. I think the Knight is kind of trapped, and then wow.
That's fascinating that you can trap a knight in the middle of the board. That's usually where the knights want to be. But Rook D5, if it forces F4, well, then Knight H4 is a real doozy with the knight and bishop meeting on G2.
That's a lot.
So,
Okay, so rook d5.
yeah,
You
I-
cannot miss
Rook
this
d5,
move,
knight
Demaz.
c4. I mean, the blue arrow is quite ridiculous. Like, I would never in a million years play rook d5. But he's going to probably put the knight on c4. Yeah, Dennis is so close to already gaining, like, a decisive advantage in the match. I mean, 3 games is a lot at this level. Although,
yeah. Well,
we saw in the Hikaru-Wesley match, anything can happen.
yeah.
Bro, what
Okay, and the time
is,
advantage
like happening?
is also taking away for Dennis. He was up more than 2 minutes at one point. If he joins Hans in mutual time scramble under a minute, we're really back to a coin flip here. So, Dennis trying to think. Perhaps he senses just how critical this position is.
Honestly,
Okay, he finds it.
yeah, there we.
Well, he took his
Whoa.
time. Like, you had a feeling that, rook d5
Yo,
is a
what
blue
is that?
arrow
What is
move that
that?
you and I would not find. But he was thinking,
No, that's the
and he
wrong
does.
move.
I was going to suggest e5 first. Just felt like more logical to glue everything together, but he does what he
And
wants.
now that's the wrong move.
But how do you break through? This is so...
And now that's
It's
the wrong
so
move.
congested in the center of the board. How does black actually break through? He's just threatening to win a pawn.
Like, what is happening?
Where is the knockout here?
Takes. Ah,
Yeah, I like.
gosh.
Okay, it was a simple move to just try to
Okay,
win the
that's a
pawn.
counter
Hans
threat
plays
on the
queen
rook. You
e4,
can't take the
threatening
horse
queen
because
e6
then you
check,
lose
not
the
just for the
rook.
bishop, but also for the rook. So
Oh, no,
so
you don't
watch
lose
out.
the rook.
Hans
What
is-
is my 600
Hans is keeping it spicy. Oh,
Well,
what's going on now? Queen can just back up, and I guess black is holding everything. Holding on.
And knight a3. And
Queen
knight a3
doesn't
feels
need
like
to back
a necessary time trouble move, but
Queen just backs up.
Doesn't feel good.
queen c6.
Yeah,
Queen
this
c6 is a Lazavik move. It's a Lazavik move. There it
He
is.
finds that, and this could be a Lazavik game. Hans does not want to go down 3 games into 3 minutes. He's going to need every ounce
there
of a
we
time
go.
control that has been good to
Boom,
him
boom, boom.
in the SEC.
Alakine's
But
gun.
you don't want to be down 3 games. He's got to find a way to hold on here.
Oh,
Move
no,
fast.
the
You got
queen's in
10
the wrong
seconds. Let's
spot.
go.
You know it's bad when the material is equal and it's -3. And Lazavik is winning this endgame style. He's going for the pawn. He's going to get 2 passed pawns, the dominant bishop,
Oh, man.
dominant rooks.
Oh, man.
Oh my gosh.
Whoa.
93, G2. You
These
can't even deal with it.
Minor pieces are just
Okay,
tearing
play
Hans
G3,
apart.
but by
Like,
the way, am I just pushing? Yeah, I was going to say, am I just pushing the
just
pawn? There's
push
too
the
many
pawn,
problems here.
hitting the rook,
Yep.
and
In the
you,
words
like,
of a famous
how
streamer,
do
just
you-
push and pee.
hold. How do you even hold
Push
it?
and
And
pee.
No,
yeah, that's what
Now,
Hikaru
can
likes to
you
say.
push?
Push the P and
no, you just
Push
push
the P.
D2, and
I
I
mean-
think it's over. You just push
Don't hurt
D2.
yourself, but push the P.
this is
He
over.
chooses not to push D2. I think he can push.
And there's
D2
48
now.
seconds on the game clock, so Hans Neimann
Rook D8.
might
Whoa,
want to make a
he might get
decision.
one
Does
more.
Danny? Does he burn the clock out, or does he go for another game?
Rook D8. Rook D8.
I think that's a great. Oh, he's going to lose on time anyway. Doesn't matter. Oh my
Oh
god.
my God.
He loses on time, just completely forgetting that he had more, and he actually has to play one more 5-minute game. Which, if you are Hans Neimann, that is not a welcome sight, because regardless of whether he feels like he wants to get to the 3-1 portion levy, he's tilting. So you want the break. You want an opportunity to just refresh yourself. You know what I mean? So I think at this point, both the time control and the momentum are so in Lazavik's favor that this could be a real problem.
This
Oh,
is
it's a
not
huge
good
problem.
for
And
Hans.
look at the position. I mean, you're down 3 games. You came back from the first break. You lost every single game. And now you have to play this absurd pawn structure where there's no easy way to just make the draw. Like, there's no easy way to get total symmetry. Lazavik is full of confidence. Why would
Okay,
he want to
hold
draw? 4-game lead going
Yeah.
into 3-1 is effectively over. The match is over before it even starts. So this is a horrible situation for Hans. Really, it's the worst
Well, I mean-
situation he's been in the SEC, frankly. Like,
Yeah, that's I
Danny,
want
he
to
wasn't
play
down 5-2 to
D4
Magnus.
too.
I mean, okay, I think eventually he was in a worse situation against Magnus,
Yes,
but I
yes,
hear you.
yes.
You're definitely
Yes.
right that he was in a he was never in
Okay,
this
yeah.
spot against Maxime Vacher-Lagrave, a World Blitz champion, against Wesley So, a multiple-time SEC finalist. Just to quickly think of something for Wesley So's resume, like I need to. Hans was winning
what
those 2
is
matches
this?
start to finish on his way to playing Magnus last year. And anyone who watched the first round this year knows that Hans Neimann dominated the former world champion Ding Liren. So this is the biggest challenge Hans Neimann has faced to
Okay,
date in the
no,
Speeches
Ding
Championship.
Liren-
I agree.
All
But the
respect
good
to
news
Ding
is
for becoming world
this-
champion, but
This is nothing for White.
Ding is
Like Hans
not
actually,
in peak
this is.
form, and
I don't
so
know
I
how much
do
Dennis was
not
leaning
think
into,
that
just like
beating
not
Ding
taking
should
any
have been
risk,
taken seriously.
you know,
This
instead
is
of putting the
proving
foot on the
why.
neck. But this is
This is
actually a perfect
proving me
situation
right.
for Hans. Kind of a nothing game,
Hans
doesn't change the score.
demolishing Ding should
Make a
not
draw,
have
take
been
a break.
taken so seriously.
In fact, now that I don't have a lot of chances to push, if I'm Lazavik, I'm
Okay.
actually
I would have
happy
just
just
wanted
figuring
to
out a
look
way to
right
get this
here,
game to
okay?
be a
I would
draw,
have played
because
something stupid like
you
queen
don't want to
e4.
give your opponent, when they're tilting and reeling, more time to gather their thoughts. And at this point,
Yeah,
this is a game that Hans
that's-
Neimann is almost playing on autopilot. He's not even thinking about this game right now, Levy, right? He's in his own head in terms of how he writes the ship. And so if I'm Dennis, I'm like, just trade. Let's get an end game. I'll get you to a break so that I can get you back at the board. In fact, look at that. Dennis agrees with the strategy. We are indeed headed
There we go.
to the 3-1 time control with Dennis Lazavik carrying a 3-game lead, Levy.
Just fantastic. When we came back from the first half point of the 5+1 section, in a very similar scene, Hans walking out and us talking about
there we
Dennis's
go.
amazing wall of trophies and medals. Yeah, the match was close, and we come back from the break, and Dennis just uncorks 3 incredible games. Like, not much else to say. And the 3+1 has to be a total change. Hans has to change his shirt, splash water on his face. I'm no stranger to being down like 3 games after 5+1, Danny, but I'm also not playing Dennis Lazavik. I was playing people who are closer to my level, and I knew that in faster format, I wouldn't be able to overthink so much. So very curious to see what comes, but so far it's Dennis Lazavik's match.
Maybe get some blue light glasses, maybe grab some energy gum if you're Hans Neimann. Do whatever you can to shake it off, right the ship, and get yourself back to the chessboard. We want a close match. We'll see if Hans Neimann can turn it around in the 3-1, but we'll see if we're going to see you in London. I'm talking to all of you fans. I know we just told you the disappointing news that the diamond tickets are gone. Your chance to shake Levy Rosman's hand. Again, no guarantees made about Levy Rosman shaking your hand. Thank you. Blah, blah, blah. All the things I would say in terms of the preconditions. But we will see you in London. You can use the command TIX. We hope that you are there. It should be awesome. The Speeches Championship energy in Paris was fire, and we expect nothing less in London, no matter who is going to join Magnus Carlsen, Hikaru Nakamura, and Ali Reza Faruja, Hans Neimann, or Dennis Lazavik. It's going to be crazy. So we'll see you in just a little bit. Levy, enjoy your break. When we come back, we have got the call for 3-1 as the Blitz time controls get faster and the SCC continues.
What's up, everybody? I'm here on behalf of one of our newest partners, Neuro. You may have known them before as Neuro Gum, but they make more than just gum now, even though this is the stuff that I actually personally really love and have been using for a hot minute. Natural caffeine, B vitamins, theanine, stuff that is good for you when you're looking to avoid that second cup of coffee. Now they also have Neuro Mints for calm and clarity. Also only natural ingredients. They use GABA, vitamin D, all kinds of good stuff that you like putting in your body if you're looking for natural ways to bring up your energy and maybe calm down and get that clarity you need toward the end of the day. There's sleep and recharge. There's all kinds of small mint packets. But like I said, I really do love the Energy and Focus Gum. I use it in the afternoon. Pop one. Sometimes I really need that extra energy. Either way, hope you give them a chance. Use the command Neuro if you happen to be watching this during one of our shows. Otherwise, go to neurogum.com. Check them out today on behalf of Chess, and we'll see you around on chess.com.
Hello, my name is Jules, and today I will be covering the red carpet premiere of Chess the Musical on Broadway. Do you play chess?
I do play chess.
Oh.
I've been playing a lot on chess.com.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not, but I'm learning.
Not necessarily well, but I do play.
Who was the first person you played a chess game with?
My dad. Well, he won the first one, but I remember that I started to beat him when I was 6.
I'm making my first move. Oh, I feel silly. Classic.
That was amazing.
Okay, I don't know.
We'll show it, yeah, right here. Who would you say is the strongest member in the cast?
Oh gosh, I mean, between our cast and crew, there are so many people that are playing lately. I know that like Ian, our MD, is playing constantly, and Nick is playing, and Aaron, everybody.
Probably Nick. Nick, he's on it. He pretty much is on that app all the time playing.
Well, Nick and I very conveniently have not played each other in chess.
Everyone has said you are the best player in the cast except for Aaron. So
does that make me number 2?
Well, does it?
No, I'm not 2 to anybody.
Probably. Yeah, actually. I know. I hate admitting it.
And I'm going to ask you a quick word association game, so whatever comes to mind. Chess.
Game.
Magnus Carlsen.
Unbelievable.
Prodigy.
Child.
Rook.
Castle.
Knight.
The horse.
Yes. Pawn.
Pawn. Short yet critical.
Would you say the artistry of the game of chess mirrors the artistry of theater at all?
I think that the artistry of chess mirrors the artistry of a lot of things in life. You know, I think that between politics and relationships and theater, everything, you know, there's such a similarity and connection that you can make.
All right, guys, it's time to see the show. We'll see you when I get out.
For the first time in esports World Cup history, the absolute best chess players in the world.
EWC is the biggest tournament in my calendar this year.
The two highest rated chess players in the world battling it out at EWC.
It's always fun to see Magnus act like a little child when he loses a game, instead of accepting defeat humbly.
I want to win everything that's in front of me. GG! I got my bow and arrow ready. I've shot one falcon. I want to shoot one more.
Magnus Carlsen takes the victory, world number 1, and now esports World Cup champion.
It's been unlike anything that I've seen. I really hope that this is a big part of the future.
Со мной сейчас сидит гроссмейстер Денис Лазавик, и мы сейчас будем его спрашивать несколько интересных вопросов. Посмотрим, как я говорю по-русски еще. Телефонный звонок или текстовое сообщение? Ну, звонок или текст?
Ну, я больше люблю переписываться, так можно обдумать все и не нервничать.
Я тоже. Слушай, мне звонят, я просто... Это лучший вопрос сейчас. Ну, зима или лето?
Зима.
Зима. Нравится здесь?
Да,
в Торонто. Твоя самая любимая группа?
Не особо слушаю иностранную музыку, но вот я недавно послушал группу Nirvana. Ну,
Nirvana.
Ну, мне понравилось.
А русскую музыку слушаешь? Для меня B2, она очень, очень хорошая группа.
Ну вот, когда там с папой в машине еду, там радио, и там, конечно, русские песни, да. Ну, я даже не запоминаю, как название.
Окей. Знаешь хотя бы, Виктор Цой?
Да.
Окей. Тогда хорошо. Я не так давно про его узнал. Потому что я родился в США, поэтому я даже не знал его музыку, и вдруг я где-то услышал, и мне очень понравилось. Любимый создатель шахматного контента?
Мне нравится Корона, подкаст Короны. Могу какие-то видосики Хикару посмотреть и так далее. На русском это, конечно, Левитов чес. Смотрю там.
Oh my god, these are big Russian words. Слушай, как сказать это слово? Вообще не...
Художественное.
Художественное, вау. Художественная или научно-популярная литература?
Наверное, научно-популярная.
Кофе или чай?
Чай.
Я так и думал, но для меня кофе это я как Шерлок Холмс. Блиц или классика?
Блиц.
Я с тобой несколько раз играл, да. Я помню, может, даже 2 года назад в титульном фронтике. Я пока еще был международный мастер. Мне это очень не понравилось. Онлайн или за доской?
Онлайн.
Лучшее изобретение в истории человечества?
Интернет.
Денис, спасибо, что ответил на наши сумасшедшие вопросы.
Спасибо.
I've always had a very strong 3-1 section. In my match against Maxime, I won 5 games in a row in the 3-1, and my match against Wesley, I also took, I did well in the 3-1, and obviously Ding was a bit more lopsided in all formats. So 3-1 is my favorite. 5-1 feels kind of serious. I think 3-1 is, at least to me, the embodiment of what blitz chess is. 1-1 gets a bit sketchy sometimes.
I agree with Hans. I think 3-1 is the embodiment of speech, especially in the modern world we live in online. Although all kinds of debates about whether we should have increment or not. But regardless of how Hans feels about the 3-1 coming in, he really is liking this time control now, Levy, because he needs something to change down 3 games against Dennis Lazavik.
For sure, and he did change shirts. No, I am not coaching Hans Neimann secretly. The offer was actually made in reverse, but I think it's important. I think he should. He probably, like I said, took a rinse. I mean, you gotta brush it off, and as you said, Danny, 3+1 is certainly the section we will be seeing some sort of comeback from Hans. I don't think it's going to be a 3-point deficit going into Bullet. This will either be a 6-point deficit or it will be tied, because Hans has to try to win here. We have seen some Bullet collapses throughout, like Hikaru Liem was only close because Hikaru lost a bunch of games in Bullet. That, like, nobody saw that coming. So we could be looking at that situation, but I think Hans is going to try to make it even here and now.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is the moment to make his move if it's Hans Neimann. And
Game 9.
will we see a change of the openings? No. Okay, so that answers that question. Does the changing of the time control and kind of the changing of the shirt, again, Hans Neimann officially in a more comfortable t-shirt now, will it mean a change of the openings? The answer is no. We still have this Rosalimo Sicilian.
This time the knight goes to a3. So we have a very different structure this time around.
Okay, what's Hans?
This time Lazavik will not be putting the bishop on g4. So total change, right? Complete and total change of the structure. Boys are not going to have that much time to think here. So we'll see how Hans's instincts hold up.
Hans is still playing with 100% accuracy, by the way. Okay, 99.9 after that move, but he was playing with full computer prep, knew exactly what he was doing. Look at the clock; he's got more time than he started with. So Hans is ready. He's dialed in for 3-1, and I think we're going to see a bit of a comeback. Will we be tied? I don't know, but I think Hans is going to keep this thing close.
This is, if you have to win a game, Danny, this is it right here.
Yeah.
He just sacrificed the entire queen side and damaged the pawn structure in front of his own king. What on earth is this?
This is it. Take a look, everybody, and don't blink. White is down 2 pawns and doubled kingside pawns, but the computer likes white. It tells you Hans knows what he's doing. This is prep. This is a line that he's clearly worked on. I mean, whether it was this position or not, there's no way he's on his own here. There are all kinds of reasons white has compensation. Knight b4 is coming. If you win the d7 pawn, you're immediately back in the driver's seat because this c6 pawn becomes it becomes very dangerous. So yeah, Dennis is going to take his time. He's down more than a minute, but Hans once again uncorking some pretty deep prep.
Yes, Hans was up 1 pawn before those 2 were taken. Like, he lost the 2 pawns on the queen side. It's only a pawn. It feels like 2 pawns. But queen a4 is a tricky move because it protects d7. I mean, there might be lines here you can play e6 with white and just make a pass pawn. I would never play e6, but knight b4, knight d5 are nice ideas. Trading the queens with pressure.
Is that a good
if you have to win a game, this is it. And if Hans wins this game, and I thought he had a chance there. I thought he had something better than knight a6. But if he wins this game, Danny, momentum will shift very fast.
Well, I like knight a6 even if he had something better. I don't know what the computer wanted, but Hans's idea is to control the b8 square and just ask black what you're doing. Black
I just thought he had c6.
has no moves.
I thought c6 just tactically won a pawn, but okay, the knight is on a6. There's no point.
Did Lazavik play the best move?
But also, is there to be 7 coming? I guess I'm still liking white's pressure. I know the computer doesn't like it as much, and I think you're right. I think c6 was objectively better, but I still think Hans is in control here.
At some moment, there's going to be a ghost move, like d6. That's a move that I would miss easily in a blitz game because you just feel like you can't play it. I don't know, something like that move must be terrible. Yeah, but like it will appear. And out of nowhere, black's going to be fine.
It looks playable. It doesn't look playable. It looks weird.
E6
what it looks like, actually.
So, there you go. That's a good
rook b7, g5. There you go. I loved Rook B7, but G5 and We Live. Shout out to James
G5
Canty,
takes
world boxing
bishop
champion.
takes
G5 is a nice move from Dennis. It undermines the pawn structure so that
knight
you can
takes
get your
E5.
pieces
That's
out.
a lot.
And
That's
Lazavik
a
is
lot.
right back in this thing.
Yeah, G5's like one of those Hikaru moves. You know, you have all the pressure, and then he just, like, in 2 seconds plays G5. Finding G5 just as a concept so quickly is so nice. And I
Okay,
said it's
you
a ghost
stop
move.
your-
Like, it's one of
you
these
stop
frozen
yourself
pawn
from
moves you don't
losing a
really think
pawn.
about.
That sounds good.
And Hans is still a pawn down. He still has to prove something here.
Actually, Hans has already proved something here because
Yeah.
look at the D and E pawns. Aren't they supposed to be,
Still has something to prove. He's also, again, still
not
down a minute on the
trash?
clock. Lazavik
Like-
trying to
Okay,
wiggle
there
his
we
way
go.
out. There's your other ghost move. He does play D6, but it opens
But
up
that
the
just
7th
loses a
ring. So
pawn,
this is a
right? Takes,
spicy thing to
that-
do.
Yeah, that loses a pawn.
Yeah, to
I
understand
think
that
White
Ricky's,
should just take the pawn.
What is this?
Yeah, I was gonna say, you probably should just take on D7, but it's just so crazy, Danny. Like, it would have taken us 40 seconds to understand the complications of D6, and he's just like, yeah, D6 probably the
Okay,
best
rook
move.
takes rook.
Like, I
Best
just-
move,
D6
obviously.
He goes for it. Hans is in the driver's seat, but will there be enough? I think he's going to be up a pawn. I don't know that A7 lasts that much longer. And right now, by the way, there's a threat. A rook takes G7 and knight E6 just wins on the spot. That is a forking problem, and Hans would just win. So, so Dennis has
rook
to stop
D1,
that.
rook D2? Like, do you just have to go rook D1, rook D2? Is that the only thing you can play here?
As
I
bad
can't
as
think of
this
anything
looks
else.
for Dennis, the computer says
Like,
it's equal.
Yeah, rook D1,
what
rook
else
D2
can-
makes
The
sense.
problem is that Dennis has 30
Nope, okay, he
seconds
finds
to
a
figure
different
out
way out.
why
Bishop
this is
F8.
equal.
But like I
Wow,
said,
just-
you're going to lose this pawn, and he takes it. So, okay, this is what we thought was going to happen. That pawn was not going to live much longer. Hans is up a pawn. By the way, look at the endgame reversal. Hans has the bishop now. Dennis has the knight for the first time in the game. He's flipped it around.
Yeah, he became what he set out to destroy, but all the pawns are on the same side of the board. Yeah, in endgames
you
like this,
just
you look for
check,
perpetual
check,
check and
check,
forks.
check,
I mean, this
check?
is so
Or no,
tough.
does the
Hans
king
in good
walk
form
up?
is going to win this with white. He will try to put as much practical pressure as possible. Dennis also has no time.
Yeah, can you just walk
Agreed.
the king on the
Agree with
H
everything you said. You have to go to
file?
G3.
That
There's
looks
no other way
dangerous.
out. Okay, E1 is possible. I
Okay.
can take it back, and Hans goes for it. I was wrong, but is it as good as King G3?
the pawn.
You have to use the time it will take black to win a pawn here to try to create practical problems like rook C7 maybe. But yeah, so now he's going to exactly, and now maybe rook C7 or G6 or I don't know.
It looks like Dennis
I'm
is
throwing out
getting
Bishop
mated
F6, Rook
here, but it's a
G7.
draw.
As an idea.
Well,
I
it's a
agree
draw
with you.
when
The
you
point is,
don't have
White needs to take
18.6
advantage
seconds.
not
I
of the
don't know
pawn,
if it
but of the
isn't- if
time
it's a draw
Black has to
anymore.
waste
Like,
to go
this is
get
a
it.
lot.
So is that Bishop F6 and Rook G7? Rook C7 kicks the pony first, and then what?
Whoa.
Oh, brutal move. And knight D5 is coming. Rook C5. Rook C5, rook E3. You're going to lose a piece. Oh my gosh.
Oh wow. Don't blunder. Don't blunder.
Don't
And by the
play
way,
rook
Bishop F6,
C5.
I keep highlighting it. It just doesn't work because if Rook takes H4, Rook G7 check, the king can go to F8, and the Rook now guards the pawn. So that's
Hello?
why Hans. I'm just solving it for myself. So there's
No!
Okay, he plays Rook C5. Oh, he just blundered the piece.
Hans!
Did he?
That's what I said.
But it's still a draw.
That's what I said.
It's still
That's
a draw.
what I said. I said you got to be so careful here. The rook can go the other way too. And okay, it's a draw, but wow.
That is what you
Whoa.
said. My hands smacked my own face harder than I intended to. Not that anyone's worried, but that was like you called it. By the way, Levy, you have a problem, man. I mean, I've been accused of a commentator's curse from time to time. We're not going to go down that road. Joshua Chamberlain lives, but you have a gift for incepting bad moves in people's minds. What do you say for yourself?
Listen, in the case of Mr. Neimann, you can't blame me, right? But for the average beginner, I definitely can mind read players up until around 1500. But that's why they call me the internet's chess teacher. Nobody actually calls me that, but I'm trying to get it on my passport. So
I call you that every documentary. All right, here we go. We're back to the other way. We've had knight versus bishop dynamics
So
all
this is
day if
game
you're just
10.
tuning in. Really, we have. We've had positions like this with a
This is
single
not
minor
good
piece
for Hans.
battle going on. Most of the time, Hans Neimann has been on the side of the knight. Although he's going to regret that chance he just maybe had with the bishop because it didn't get him his first win of the day. And yes, that's right. If you're keeping score, Hans Neimann has yet to get a victory in this match. He's drawn a few games and lost a few.
But Hans is
That's an actually insane statistic. I don't know when's the last time. How fast did it take Magnus to beat Hans and Hikaru? Like, this is definitely the longest match he's played without a win.
Like, what?
Yeah. I don't remember when he got his first win versus Magnus in Paris. I know that he almost won game 1. I remember commentating with Robert, and it was... There was something, like, cosmic in that moment, Levy. I know that sounds weird, but, like, Robert and I were on the edge of our seat. It looked like Hans was going to beat Magnus with black to start the match. And what that might have done, given all the dynamics, all the pressure, all the hype of that being the first battle they had since, of course, the scandal in 22. But then Magnus wins the game, and it was like the wheels came off for Hans, right? Like, it was never looking back. So, I don't know that we've... Yeah, I don't know when Hans Neimann last had a match like this.
All right, so
this is really astounding, and honestly, it says less about Hans. I would argue it says more about Lazavik. Like, Dennis is in incredible form. It's really tough to say where Dennis would have gone in the previous Speed Chess Championship because, again, he lost to Wesley So 12-10. That's 1 or 2 games, and Wesley So, as we saw, is a game away or 2 games away at any given moment from knocking out Hikaru literally over the last half a decade. So, yeah, Dennis's potential is very, very high.
Lazavik.
And
Dennis Lazavik.
This is tough for Hans, man. This is really tough.
Yeah.
Well, this game, too, is like, it's not going to... Okay, we never know. Blunders happen. But I don't think it's going to go his way. And so now you're already in a spot where, okay, down 3 games, do you just want to get another game? I can't complete my thought before they answer the question. I was going to say, are you already in a spot where you stop trying to fight, Levy, because you're looking at that clock, 39 minutes left in the 3-minute portion. If you're Hans, you don't have time to screw around in those games, Levy. You don't have time to waste 5 minutes on the clock trying to win a stupid night end game, right?
Yeah, no, for sure. You have to go for something a little bit more. By the way, we haven't had this position yet, right? You got to go something.
Yeah, this is new.
Go for something a little bit more rooted in like reality, not just like some performative advantage or something like that. Like you really need a long-term type of grinding game. And he's had a few positions that kind of looked good, but he couldn't really get any play going. And Dennis, it's not Dennis's match to play for a win anymore. He has to be beaten 3 times. And Danny, he's not looking like he's going to get beaten if Magnus and Hans were sitting there together making moves.
Okay. This is a road more commonly traveled, to your point. We had a mainline Rui Lopez. I think you were right. I think that was the first one of the day. Because we had a Berlin, if you just tuned in. Game 1 was a Berlin, and then we've had a bunch of Rossalimo Sicilians. So, with Hans being white, we have a mainline Lopez. I like his chances. Just what do? Do you take E5 or do you go 94? Ooh, 94. I just channeled my inner Yasser Sarouan, 94. Yeah, exactly. Here we go. We're going to take F6 and then Queen H6. That's what I'm talking about.
He's like, yes, I love it. Yeah, Bishop takes
exactly.
knight F6,
Exactly,
Queen H6.
yes.
Yeah. This is my interzonal game from 1984. Yes.
I love it. Okay, well, Hans Neimann, go for it. Come on, Hans, get the dub. Knight takes F6, Queen takes H6.
King H8 is epic. I had a feeling King H8 was going to happen. E4!
What?
Oh my gosh, E4 shuts the door on the... Wait, Danny, this is also prep? What is this?
This is absolutely crazy. Hans Neimann has 2 minutes and 46 seconds to Levy's point about casually saying it's prep. Because if it is, this is mind-blowing. I would be shocked if this was prep or he's just finding the tactics, because he did pause some. But it doesn't matter. Look at the game. What is going on here? Both pieces are hanging.
Both bishops are just like out and like what?
I love G5, by the way, not because I'm going to take the bishop, Levy, but because I'm going to take the knight with the queen. G5 is a fantastic move. Okay, and Hans sees that, so he backs up the pony.
Knight E4, you take on F3, you go King H1. You have crazy ideas here, like Queen C1. Oh my! I mean, if Dennis Lazavik plays Queen D3, I'm out of here, bro. Like that's just...
No, if Dennis Lazavik plays Queen D3,
I get it.
Oh, okay. He doesn't. I'm with you. That would have been quite the move. He plays F5. Now Hans has a chance. Your Queen C1. Hans sits up in his chair. He's got a few tells when you know Hans feels like there's a moment, and that a little bit of a sit-up. I think he senses that there's got to be some pressure here. Hans really wants to find it.
Queen C1's a fork. It's a fork of a square and a pawn. It's a very, very rare fork for everybody at home, but you're forking a square. That's rare stuff. And then you fork into a fork. It's forkception. Oh my gosh.
Dude, what
I'm like
is
laughing.
Queen
I can't draw the arrogant
C1?
laughing.
Why is
it's
it
fork
so
seven.
dang
Queen
strong?
C1 is a fork of H6 and C3. You step into a fork of H8 and B4. It's a forking fiesta. It's a forking fiesta.
Wow, look at that. What is that, a trap? That's not a trapezoid. That's a rhombus? Or no, that's a parallelogram. And he finds it. Let's go. Close match. I'm not rooting for Hans, but I'm not looking for a blowout. Let's go. I want a close match.
Hey, I'm rooting for Hans here. Gloves are off. Let's go. I want to see a win. I want to see this thing stay close, and I'd like to see some momentum turn around.
And he finds it.
Not rooting for anybody in the bigger picture, but I want a close match as much as anybody does.
Danny, Queen E7 is the knockout Rook D6? Is that what we're going for?
Hey, Rook to D6. Welcome to the party.
So.
H6.
I don't think so. Queen G7 check, unfortunately. but
okay.
It looks like the right move. Wait, maybe it is. Maybe there's some Rook G1 at the end. I don't know. But okay, now Rook D6, still Queen G7.
No, I think
where's the win?
I think you might be right. Rook D6, Queen G7 check, King moves. You take on E4, and you. Yeah, you're right though. How do we just get this Rook to flip over the Queen and get to G1? That's the question.
Then there's Queen D2 threatening Rook D7 and Rook G1 and Queen B4. What is happening?
What? Analysis board. To the Batcave we must go. Here we go. Rook to D6. Queen to G7 check. I think Levy's right. Takes, shake and bake, takes E4, and is Levy right? He is right. Queen to D2.
I would have never seen that in my own games. It's so much easier to analyze games.
Dude, that's a brilliant idea, though. Literally another fork. It is the forking fiesta continues. B4, D7, H6, G1. Hans is he finds it. He finds Rook D6. He's on the prowl.
What a game. It's like the best game I've seen in months. FE Queen D2. That's nasty.
Okay, he finds it. And what's next? Dennis knows this is scary, right? He knows he doesn't even want that knight, but he's got to go for it. Why not Queen D2? Why not Queen D2?
No, Rook G8.
Yeah, wow.
Rook G8.
I mean, just
he's
totally...
allowing Rook G8, but dude, you can't stop mate on G2 if you play Rook G8. That's the idea.
Yeah, I guess there's Queen E4 and you have to play F4 or something.
No.
Oh, he just totally missed it. Wow.
Okay, he missed it. Okay, I guess we have this is one of those spots where maybe we're just not realizing. What is it?
Oh my gosh, Hans is not going to win. He has to find Bishop E6, Danny. It's the only move. He might even be losing if he doesn't find that move.
Holy cow. What is this?
What is going on? It's slipping. You have to find Bishop E6. You don't have a lot of time. 20 seconds.
Hans.
I think he will find it, because I think at this point, the only move will sort of force itself.
Quality.
I think he's going to find Bishop E6.
No, he missed it.
Knight G3 move! Oh my gosh, he sucks the Queen of Danny!
Oh my gosh.
What is happening?
By the way, there was another win there, not 95. What the fork? I agree with chat is happening here. Holy fork balls.
This is... Dennis Lazavik is a cat with 36 lives.
Seriously. We will be backing up to see what was the win after knight to d3 because Dennis didn't put the game away. He's just happy to hold, let's be honest. But I'm just shocked.
No, what?
I have no idea where the wins were. I mean, I saw Queen D2. That I saw. Afterward, it's a blur. But
what
yeah. And Hans might flag. They both might flag. They have 3 seconds.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, we're not out of the woods yet. Here we go. Bishop to e5. No. Okay, obstacle bishops. I think they pre-moved themselves to some more time. So I'm expecting a... Okay. Oh! Time!
Time?
Oh my gosh. Hans Neimann is actually at risk of flagging. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah. Well, and so is Dennis. You got to move.
Just keep moving.
Okay.
Okay.
Isn't Hans potentially risking losing if the Black King gets into the position? This is
yeah. What is going on? What's going on here?
What is happening?
Okay,
This
it's
was
just
a
a
draw.
draw, but
What?
This is
What?
yeah,
With
but it was
3 seconds?
unnecessary. It's a draw, but only black can win now. Like,
yeah,
this is completely turned around.
yeah, he's gonna
what?
just worst case scenario is rook and bishop versus rook, and we are getting rook and bishop. Wow. Now, can Hans
my
defend
God.
this perfectly? Danny, does he know the
Yeah.
best defensive setup in time trouble?
Oh,
I mean, if
my
I had to guess,
goodness,
Hans
what is
definitely knows
this?
the best defensive setup. The question is, can he do it in time trouble, right? So yeah, exactly.
What
Just
is
so everyone
this?
knows, this is a difficult endgame to defend, especially in time scrambles. It is not like rook and knight versus rook. As you see, the black king. Look at this. The black king and rook are making. In fact, white is already one step away from losing this position. This is not where you want to be, Levy.
Oh my gosh.
Actually, very famous blitz player and very strong grandmaster Alexander Bortnik recently taught me the cleanest way to defend this. This is second rank defense. This is the best setup. The king and rook a square apart, and yeah.
Yep.
I think
he will hold it there. The second rank defense. Just remember that name if you are an aspiring chess improver out there. Look it up afterwards because it seems easy here, but it's the kind of thing you really want to memorize because it's not as easy to do when you're under 5 seconds. It takes grandmaster level defensive technique, and Hans is doing that. He's showing that.
Yeah.
Yes, there's a famous stalemate trap, but you can very easily lapse for a second and just lose. But it looks like Hans has this perfected.
That was wild.
The nice thing about online chess is you don't need an arbiter. Sheboygan bishop b2 is winning.
He hung a fork. He hung a fork. Of all the things to hang, he hung a freaking fork.
Oh my god.
What was that?
This is such a heart attack. Hans is almost losing again, dude. This is a okay. Hans defends.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, he slaps his hands. Yeah.
Holy
yeah,
cow.
you gotta celebrate that. Come on. Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
Levy, what is going on right now?
I don't know. Maybe on the break we take a look at what just happened in that game. If Hans Neimann had won that game in that emphatic of a fashion, everything would have flipped, but he still can't get a win. If you can't win a position like that because you're just not feeling the killer instinct of the day, there's nothing you can do. Like on days where in the last week, I've lost, I don't know, some hundreds, 150 blitz rating points. Nothing works. There's just nothing you can do. You play until you get out of it. But Danny, if he can't win that position, I'm not sure there's a position he's going to win today.
Yeah. No, you're right. I mean, class is permanent, form is temporary, as they say. Sometimes you show up and you don't have your best chess. You don't want that to be the storyline if you're Hans Neimann or a Hans Neimann fan. But right now, that seems to be the case because Hans has had a couple of victories that Denis Lazavik has denied him or he has let slip away. And now, by the way, Levy, he's just lucky he didn't lose that game, by the way. Like, he's lucky he didn't lose that game. He should have lost, and he should be down 4 games right now. That was a one-move, Sheboygan, Wisconsin, blunder fork on B2. And yeah, Dennis missed it.
Crazy. I mean, And Lazavik is oozing confidence at this point. I mean, like, he is...
Yep.
Danny, the moves that he found in that game to sack the queen twice, get out of here. I mean, like, what do you... How do you beat a guy who's leaving his queen hanging 2 times and counterattacking you? Like, it means he's so locked in.
What is happening?
You can
like, that last game was crazy.
See the confidence. I agree. He's locked in. And here he goes, queen h5. I don't know if that's the right plan. I think... Yeah. I think the queen...
I was going to ask you, you know how you used to say... Oh, I know that's Hikaru face like number 13 or 17 or 11, right? Yeah, Denis Lazavik has 1 face.
Yeah. Like, it's called winning.
Yeah. I mean, Denis Lazavik, win, lose, draw,
game,
tournament champ, World Cup champ, world champ. That's his face.
Every game is just worth watching.
Totally true. And I still have a well-documented catalog of Hikaru Nakamura facial expressions. I just don't get to do commentary as much anymore as the good old days. But yeah, no, you're right. Denis Lazavik, not an emotive player. Hikaru, I think, on the extreme end of being emotive when he plays. I think Hans Neimann is more on that side as well. But Denis doesn't even blink, man. He just calculates.
No, he's really evolving for sure. I mean, the ability to play such a tactical position but have such a solid playing style. I don't know what you got to beat the guy with a baseball bat. Like there's going to be no other way to beat him, and I don't know. I have no idea what I tell Hans if I'm his coach. It's like one of those tennis matches. You show up and the other person just 3-0s you. Like there's nothing you can do.
Yeah, especially because Dennis is also one of those players where if you're not on good form and beating him, outplaying him, he doesn't vary. He's just going to stick to the playbook. Like his style is just what it is, right? He's going to play the same stuff, same openings. And so what I'm saying is like if you're not on top form, you can't rattle his cage. And so this is by the way, we're basically being baseball commentators right now, speaking of a baseball bat, because we're looking at a game that doesn't have a lot to show for it. And by the way, this is the opposite of the kind of chess Hans wants, because prediction, 3 more minutes will come off the clock before this game is done, at least. If not 4 or 5.
No,
so we're seeing that 25-minute clock countdown. If you're new to the SCC, you're not just playing against your opponent.
And
you're
he
playing
still
against
hasn't
the
won a
countdown
game.
timer and the scoreboard. And so this is not the kind of chess that Hans wants to be playing.
Hans has not won a game.
And I don't know what he can possibly do here. Because at some point you start feeling the pressure of, do I try to play for a win? There's only so much that playing the best move will get you.
What is this?
Because
game
you're down 3
12?
points. So at some point you have to go for a win. If he thinks his best chance to go for a win is with white, because the previous game, then with black he's just going to have to play. Guess what though? Denis Lazavik also is just going to make moves. Time is going to keep going off the clock. But this is looking very pleasant now for Hans, I have to say.
Yeah,
I mean, I would have never played that move. But his idea is to stop b5 ideas, I think.
Yeah, he's guarding the b7 pawn so that you can make b5 with take once and then probably c5, or the other way, or you take with the c pawn and play a5. Yeah, okay, that's better. Dennis trying to get rid of his weak. It's a good idea by Dennis. Sorry, we're lagging a little bit again on the audio. Didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, I don't have anything profound to say. I've said everything there is now. It's just a question of how much longer can Dennis do nothing in the position before Hans starts throwing haymakers. And if he does something really crazy, he will lose a game and be down 4. And that you generally don't recover from.
Yep. There have been 2... I'm gonna the SCC production family in the background is gonna check my stats here, but I used to do every SCC match commentary for years, and I'm pretty sure there has been 2 4-game deficits overcome in history only, and one of them was overcome to tie but still lose. I think there's only 1 4-game deficit that was ever overcome for a win. For anyone wondering, we're gonna ask Stat Team to check on that, but I think so.
Pretty sure like a couple of years ago Magnus was down 4 games to Hikaru and then came back, and I don't know if that was the match that he ended up losing anyway or if he won that match, but that was pretty wild to watch.
I'm pretty sure he lost that match anyway. There was also a women's speed chess championship match I remember that Irina Krush was in that had a 4-game deficit where the person who came back also still lost, but I'm pretty sure there was 1 4-game deficit where someone won. All right, here we go. Endgame time, both sides under 20 seconds. What do we got, Levy?
Well, first of all, we have rook b7 hangs a rook. Let's not do anything too rash. Bishop f5 is an amazing move, hitting the pawn on d3, forcing white to push the pawn forward. Now the light squared bishop is terrible.
Okay, Hans is pushing.
Nope, never
this
mind.
Is good.
It does
the
not
a-pawn will run, and the a2 square is guarded.
Dennis Lazavik has to.
This is miserable for white. No, I mean this is like objectively completely lost for white. Like, there is nothing. The pawn is going to get all the way to a2, or the king is going to come in d65.
You're lucky you've gotten the setup that you have here, but even this is not going to be good enough. That black rook will switch to the c file, and this game is over. Hans does it. Doesn't need to be asked twice.
But Hans had to bring his king.
No,
he hung a pawn.
Yeah, but the rook is... I think black... Oh,
rook A1.
White has to find rook A1, and he finds it.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
The right move order. Oh
wow.
My God, that is Lazavik.
Yeah, he's sacrificing a bishop because he's gonna do the same thing that happened last game. He's gonna try to trade all the pawns. Rook b.
Oh my gosh, what?
But
he's in time, Danny. Rook d3, rook d7, rook d3, rook d7. Or
bishop d7 first.
Oh, and rook g3. Oh my gosh.
Wait, but the king is stalemated. There's a renegade rook. Renegade rook on the board. Oh my god, I saw it. He's got a renegade rook because the king is stalemated. Holy crap.
What is this?
He hung his bishop. He hung his bishop.
No, he had to. Oh, Dennis wondered. Dennis thought it was stalemate. And Hans gets a victory.
Oh,
there it is.
My gosh.
Finally, he says. You can find it. There you go. Oh, wow. Hans is excited, boys and girls, about that victory. Can we show that before the break? What's the sponsor read? I don't even know it. That was absolutely crazy. I know I don't want to overwhelm the chat with chess, but first of all, this is now a draw. Dennis took this pawn, everybody, because he thought king would take, which is stalemate, but it's just an absolute blunder because the rook takes. But now I have to go back to the renegade rook idea because we saw it coming. The moment this king was stalemated, Lazavik spotted it, and this is just a good thing to know that you can hang your rook and it's a draw. I just wanted to show that. But wasn't there something else in this game we wanted to show? I don't even freaking know anymore, man. This match is wild.
I realize. Yeah, let's go forward a move. I realize there's a so the king moves, right, and then you have to go rook d6 because if you play rook d7 right away, there's g6 check first.
Yep. Check, and then you win the rook.
Oh my gosh!
So
Yeah, I thought he just
instead-
hung his bishop. Like I thought. Yeah, he moved king f7 and just like.
Yeah.
Oh, but that was on purpose. Wow.
Yeah, it was on purpose. It's the only chance to draw, and now
I know, but
try-
but Danny, why did he? Oh, he was trying to go rook e7, king h7, rook e5, g6 mate. That's what he was trying to do. Okay,
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Well, I think part of the reason Lazavik hallucinated, one, it was a hallucination, but two, I think he was a little bit worried, and obviously he only had 2 seconds. We can now see, so maybe he was just panicked, right? He both blundered and just didn't realize that there isn't a threat because even if the king moves here, the pawn is pinned. You can just keep the rook here. I think, yeah. And so I think he just hallucinated that he wasn't losing. You know what people need to do when they hallucinate? They need to pick up their energy and focus, Levy. That's why we have Neurogum, and that's what the players need. That's probably what Dennis Lazavik is doing right now. He's back at the studio. He's throwing some water on his face. He's using that code, Chess15. He's popping like 5 pieces of gum. I don't recommend that. Do not overdo the amount of gum that you eat. I'm going to pop a Neurogum right now, Levy. Have we sent you a Neurogum gift package? I don't know.
You threatened to, but I never received it. But I did have one recently for the first time. It was nice.
Yeah. It's got theanine. It's got GABA. It's good. It's healthy stuff. Anyway, we got to take a break because we got a match ahead of us. Will that game come back to haunt Dennis Lazavik? His 3-game lead goes to 2. We're gonna find out. We've got a few more 3-minute games, and then the bullet. Go on, brush your shoulder off, take a break. I got to use, you know what? I'm not going to say it on air. That's inappropriate. We'll be right back. Bye, everybody.
Another pep talk? Nah, you're past that. Hype fades, but good energy, that stays. Workout, workday, whatever. We're here for it all damn day. It's never just one thing. Be ready for everything. Mind sharp, focus locked. Don't just move forward. We've got good energy. Neuro Gum and Mints.
Starting battle.
Welcome back to AnyChess. AnyChess is modernizing chess by infusing the timeless game with an innovative spell mechanic. Players can compete against each other, participate in tournaments, and craft their own spells to battle and climb the ranks. All classical chess rules apply, but can be overridden by spell mechanics.
Invisible march. A strategic.
The knight on h6 used Shot in the Dark, moving it invisibly for 1 turn. And meanwhile, White used House Recruit to spawn a pawn.
Clear the ground with a single bound.
White uses Bisshop 2.0, launching the bishop over a pawn to capture.
Invisible march. A strategic arch.
Shot in the Dark allows Black to win by Kingslay. Push your chess limits. Try spell chess in the AnyChess Open Alpha.
Who is your favorite person in the tournament as a friend?
Fabiano Caruana, because he's a very friendly person.
I think I have good contact with Javi. Oh, Prague. I also get along very well with Prague. Fabio Praganda, probably, yeah.
Well, Fabiano Caruana.
And probably Gukas, Domarazzo.
Maybe Kasparov.
Maybe for fun, yeah, Magnus, because we are in Team Liquid now.
What is your favorite city in the world?
The Hague.
Where I live, Minnesota.
Krakow.
Probably Paris.
I like generally, Switzerland, Geneva, Dubai or Doha is also very, very, very suitable for me.
Yeah, I'd say Chennai.
Are you more a night owl or an early bird?
I'm definitely a night owl.
Early bird nowadays.
Early birds.
Late. It depends on my routine because sometimes I night owl and sometimes I'm early bird.
Recently I became night owl because I played in many classical tournaments and I have to prepare. My advice is just to be a morning person.
I wake up around 9.
8:30.
Maybe 9. Sometimes 10.
I usually at 10 a.m.
Actually, I wake up early around 8, 9. But whenever I study chess, it's always late.
10 maybe, the 9:30.
Will we see a Hans Neimann comeback in today's Speed Chess Championship match? It's the last quarterfinal matchup in the 2025 SCC. Whoever wins today joins Magnus Carlsen, Hikaru Nakamura, and Ali Reza Firouzja in London. If it's Hans Neimann, Levy, we got the same 4 dudes we had in Paris. If it's Denis Lazavik, then a newcomer crashes the party. Either way, it's going to be a blast, and here we go.
We have yet another Sicilian defense, and this time Denis Lazavik, after the troubles of the last game, although that game wasn't even a Sicilian, it was E4, E5, he changes it up. So he decides to test out a new opening. And yeah, Denis Lazavik is the only person preventing a repeat of last year's Final Four. Danny, we just watched them play 12 games, and it was unfathomable to us that Denis Lazavik would lose a game. And he lost the game in the most absurd way possible. Like, it wasn't outplayed. he lost the game by miracle. So can he bounce back emotionally?
Yeah. And it is funny because those types of losses, to Levy's point, are the kind that can shake you. It's been all Denis all day. He has seemed unrattleable, if you will. But it's not just that Hans Neimann got his first win right before the break. It was how he got the win and how Denis kind of brilliantly held and then blew it. So we'll find out. Right now, it's already looking pretty good for Hans. This bishop f3, he's going to take c6 at some point, and that's a problem. He's just going to take that knight. He does it. I like
this
it.
This is a Lazavik style game, as if he was playing white, but he is not. So Denis is going to have to try to. Is there bishop c3? Hans is losing.
Wait. Oh, he just blundered his own exchange? Oh, wow.
Yeah. Bishop c3, bishop d2, rook d8. So I have no clue what you play here with white.
Yeah, just real quick in your head, everybody. Bishop to c3. If you try to block, the rook comes to d8, and that's a pin for the win on the queen. So yeah, Hans sits up in his chair, not the good kind. Yeah, we'll show it real quick. Here we go. Rook to b1 or whatever.
I
Yeah.
think you go for this and sack the queen. I think you go for this and take on c3. You must. Yeah.
Wow, that would be quite the journey. Is it happening?
Yeah.
It's happening. It's happening, everybody.
There it is.
Here we go.
There it is.
Levy called for a queen sack, and he gets what he wants.
Oh yeah. We got a queen sacrifice from Hans Neimann, although not a fun one. This is much more of a defensive sacrifice than an offensive sacrifice.
Yeah.
But I have to say the position still looks pretty nice for white.
Yeah, he's got some pressure. The dark squared bishop is one that cannot be rivaled by anything black has. The d6 square is weak. And the 3-on-2 majority for Hans is much better than the 4-on-3 majority that Dennis has over here. So there's pressure. That's the point. Hans does have some compensation. Oh, I like that move. Yeah, trap the rook, and now here comes f6 at some point. That rook just got loose.
I don't understand the move rook d6 at all. I mean, it was quite obvious he was going to play bishop d5. So I think Hans is relying on the move c2 to c4. If that move can land, white's position is great. But now Dennis is going to trade a pair of rooks, and white's resistance against the queen gets significantly weaker. Because when you play against the queen, you need pieces that can coordinate really well together. And with just one rook on the board, it's just not going to happen. It would actually be even worse for white if white had a knight instead of one of the bishops. But yeah, this is looking very bad.
Black can just defend the a7 pawn. I mean, there's several ways to do it. Queen c7, queen e7, queen b8, but all of them will likely be followed by e5 at some point. And black is sort of slowly pushing. Oh, wait, what? Oh, tactics. He's saying if you take, I'm going to play queen a8 and win the a3 pawn. So he's defending tactically, the old-fashioned way. I just realized I have gum in my mouth. Shout out to Neurogum. Sorry, I'm going to take that out. Sorry, everybody. There you go. Neurogum out of my mouth, but we'll save that for later.
Why is he shaking his head? I don't understand why Dennis is so upset, but I'm not the one playing, so... Oh, now bishop a7, queen a8, rook d7. Oops. Or that.
Okay.
But there's queen a6. I'm not sure, really.
Black has to move the bishop first, so are you going to c2 or are you going to f5? But now you're allowing bishop takes a7, and Hans still not going for it.
Hans is doing this because he wants the bishop to block the black king's escape. So he wants his rook to infiltrate, and he doesn't want the black king to run out. That's what I think. And so g4 was too much, I think. But that's the idea. Yeah,
okay, but
h5.
it also is a pawn move, as you said. It's too much. It's a pawn move you often wish you could have back when you advance them in front of your king. So he gets his goal, but now Lazavik has a target, which is the white king. He's going to try to open it up.
20 seconds on the clock. Weak king against the queen. Really dangerous. h3, queen c7. h3, queen c7. You have to find bishop f2, which is very tough.
Okay, he plays it right away, but we're still taking on g4, likely trying to open it up.
Yep. Yeah. And the e-pawn for black is decisive, I think, in the long run. But
okay. But all right, if you get
four,
what's going on here? If you play b5, I mean, is Hans getting some counterplay? No.
I mean, b5 is the only thing white can do other than sit back, and I think it's just a matter of time. Like queen b3, queen f3 is just mate.
Yeah. Oh wow, queen b3, queen f3 is just mate. You weren't kidding. I mean, sometimes you say things exaggerating because you're an entertainer. I'm not calling it. You're entertaining, but you're not wrong. Queen b3 and queen f3 is just a problem.
Is the idea for white like bishop b6? You just like make a run for it and like get the king some air? Oh, bishop b6, queen g3. Oh my god. Oh, this is just over.
Yeah, and he finds it. I think Hans is. Oh wait, queen f3. Oh, he's going to give up the rook for the bishop. That's his only hope. Queen f3. He's going to give up the rook for the bishop.
What? Wow, and then there's b5, and then... Oh, that's a nice idea, Danny, because he's trying to get a passed pawn.
Yep. He's saying, when you take my bishop, I will take with a pawn. But at least Hans isn't mated anymore. Only 4 seconds. The biggest problem he has is not on the board right now. It's on the clock.
Yeah, f4, there was rook e4. Like, this is still tricky somehow.
Yeah. Now he's going to...
No,
You allow
no chance.
bishop takes c7 and queen
No,
f6
no, no.
check? What the?
Absolutely. He's never playing 95. If he plays 95, I'm don't know. I'm gonna eat my hoodie. Yeah,
Okay.
just no chance. No
Yeah.
chance.
That, by the way, knight takes e5 was the best engine move, but you have to allow not just bishop e7, but queen f6 check, and then you just calmly put the king on e8, and black is fine. Like, there's just
Hans
no
is
world.
winning.
That is not a world that we. Wait, Hans is
H7
winning.
hangs.
Knight takes e6 or h7.
But everything was losing.
Just take h7. Yeah. Take h7.
No, I mean,
it's with
everything
check.
was hanging though. Everything. Wow, d6 is nasty.
I know, but knight h7 was so concrete because it was with check, and then you go to f6, and the h pawn runs. You're a wizard, Harry. This
94.
I mean, yeah, it's winning, but
no, but d7, rook c1. It must be over.
Hans is winning.
What?
Holy cow!
Okay, fine.
Okay, d7 now. D7 now. Okay. The back rank is just the back rank mate. That was too many ranks coming out of my mouth. But the back rank mate should win for white. Yeah, it's just over. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Dennis can't hold this. Rook c8.
Rook b8. There was rook b8.
Fine.
Or rook c8. Yeah. Oh.
Okay, rook c8 still. All right. Okay,
wait, Danny. This didn't work. But can I show you something cool?
You got the microphone, so let's go back to the game.
I just want to show something. I just want to show something.
What was the position?
Rook a8.
Okay.
Rook a, like takes rook c8, knight d8, rook a8 stalemate.
Oh yeah, same idea that saved Dennis before as a stalemate. That's a draw.
Can you imagine?
Yeah. By the way, white wins on anything like knight h7. Everybody, you just give the king a move and then you win. But Levy's idea is brilliant. Okay.
It's a nice little
back
trap,
to the game.
That was Hans Niemann's best game.
Yeah, for sure.
Incredible. Just incredible.
Hans Niemann wins. We have less than 2 minutes left in the 3-minute portion, everybody. Can he bring it back to within 2 games? I think this is a doable comeback in bullet for Hans if it's within 2. 4, okay, if he loses this game, Bob's your uncle. But if he wins, he has a real chance, and even 3 games is possible. So we're still in it. In a close match.
Oh, for sure. That was a fantastic game. That was definitely Lazavik's worst game of the match so far. Yeah. And the moment where at the end he had the blue arrow and I said I would eat my hoodie, I mean, he had to sacrifice a knight and allow a kingside attack, but somehow have enough tactics to save the position. I mean, it was unfathomable.
Like,
this line that he's playing, knight c3, Lazavik, this is some sort of new cutting-edge stuff in the ready, which most people watching aren't playing because ready is something that, top grandmasters are now playing to avoid opening theory, but you put a knight on c3. So if you back up like 3 moves, we don't have to go too far.
Yep.
But it looks like an extremely anti-positional move for Dennis. Like, what is knight c3? But it's a new thing. This is what they're doing now.
Okay. New move order stuff. Dennis Lazavik is all over it, and he has a teeny bit of an edge here, although the knight just undevelops itself because it wants the c4 square at some point. Interesting.
You rook back to e1.
Very interesting.
I like white's bishops.
Yeah. It's funny. Both bishops are sort of awkward on b2 and h7. Both kind of out of play, but both potentially back in the game if they could wiggle their way into something important. So it's just an interesting dynamic there.
Okay, rook e8, final game. So much hinges on this game. If it's a 2-game winning streak for Hans that goes into the bullet, anything can happen. Really anything. Yep. I mean, it's hard to understate how important this game is and how much pressure there is on Hans.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. It has happened before. We have seen 4-game comebacks, but again, you're in historical territory. You're going into the record books if it happens. So you want to win now. This is officially our last 3-minute game. As you can see, the timer above Hans Niemann's head has hit 0.
Dang.
White has a bit of an edge here. This is a great game for Dennis Lazavik. That's one thing that has also been very consistently smart about him, Levy, is that his rebound games have been very good. He rebounded when he blundered the stalemate, won right away, and even if he doesn't win this game, like if he holds the draw, this is just a very smart way to play a solid game right after something went crazy.
Danny, he's also threatening bishop c1, and the threat is not just bishop f4, it's bishop takes h6. Like, it almost looks like positionally, white is just completely winning. Like, I mean, I don't see a move for black. I guess he's trying to, and there it is, and Hans has to lock in, man.
Oh my.
Okay, computer says the only move is knight d5, no hands. That's the computer, which, by the way, stops both threats. It guards f4 and stops Levy's bishop takes h6. And Hans Neimann finds it, the best move.
And that's why he went rook e7, because on the previous move, his rook was on e8, and rook e8 would have won the game. So this is why he played the rook to e7. Very good defending from Hans.
Yeah.
Rook e1.
Yeah, Hans is finding all the best moves to keep himself in it. And the time advantage is very, very small for Dennis. So this is likely a scramble. Still anybody's game. Okay, now is bishop takes h6? Did he... Wait. No? It's not... Oh, the knight defends it. Sorry. I was just testing you. You passed the test. You barely passed that test right there. I was asking you for you. You're welcome.
Was just, I was just chilling. Now I actually don't know how to make progress, by the way. Like, I straight up have no idea. Hans did great. And bishop g5 is a nice idea for Hans, too. Bishop g5, and you can put a knight on f4 in some lines.
I like it.
Not right away.
I like it. King h7 is also a fun move. By the way,
no,
that's bad. H4 is a move that the computer has been calling for with bishop takes, and then you slide the queen over. That's kind of crazy, so I'm not even looking at it.
Like, this is
We're back
bad
to just eval bar
Hans.
analysis, but that was a wild move that white could have played.
Wow, queen g3 voluntarily damaging his own pawn structure because it removes the most active defender of black's position. This is just amazing stuff from Lazavik. Very instructive for anybody. FG3 is not a move we see a lot, right, Danny? Like, you don't see this kind of structure.
Yo, what?
It's not, and by the way, now h4 is a lot more obvious, and he finds it because g5 will be trapping the bishop where it sits on f6. Dennis Lazavik has got Hans Niemann's back against the wall, literally, here. You cannot go to bullet down 4 games.
No, Hans is yelling. He's missed it. It's actually over. He is completely lost. H5 traps a bishop, and G5 traps a bishop. Unbelievable. Dennis tapping his chin like,
wow.
Do you know where the resign button is? And he's found it.
Yep. Yep.
Wait. He just resigns. I don't think he realized the 3-minute portion was over.
Man.
I mean,
no, but I mean, it was just lost. He was just losing a bishop. It's over. Dennis Lazavik is up 4 games.
That was crazy.
Right, but he could have moved the rook from d8 and kept going for a little longer.
Crazy.
No, but h5 was trapping the other bishop.
Sorry, that's double threat. It was a double threat. Double threat.
Yeah.
Double kill, double threat.
Oh my
Literally,
goodness.
Dennis Lazavik is doubling up right now. He's got 4 games as a lead heading in to bullet. Levy, did you think we could possibly beat him?
Dennis is going crazy right now. Now, unfortunately, I will not be streaming the bullet section. You'll have to go see that on your own. But this is crazy right now. Nobody was expecting this, apparently. Yeah. This is wild. This is just wild. Yeah. Yeah, we'll see where this goes. We'll